talking
I have a question. The new truck in the parking lot. How the hell is it? Somewhere in the utilities. No, I know, but I'm just saying. Must be got money somewhere. Yeah. Parsley, yeah. I know, that's like, Mike came in, he didn't know. Mike was in the other day, but E.G. called me the other day. I said, I thought I saw money somewhere. And I said it would be... Oh, well.
Yeah, this morning I stopped in for this morning after I had all stuff done, seen it for a little bit. She said he's walking a little. Yeah, they got him like 5 hours.
I did, didn't I?
How's it going?
Yeah. So I got it. We put it right in the mail for you.
My turn to barrel now, I guess. So that's the next bottle.
Thanks.
No, I've got things to report. It's not that big a deal.
Leslie, we gave that for her today. Oh, thank you. You want to just slide a copy?
Now, which side you do for? You on? I've heard side you on the intersect. I never did. Which side?
Yeah.
I think we got that one wrapped up. You never know.
Well, absolutely. Well, thank you very much. Thank you so much.
Oh, thanks, Bobby.
Heck yeah.
655-1825.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I'll never do that. You too.
Oh, yeah. You got that letter? Yeah, that was just. Yeah.
No, I didn't know how to do
I'll show you one about these.
So we didn't know.
Larry's Victorians anyway. No voicemail unless you called after I left.
It's no big deal.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. It's fried. Yeah. It's also, serving alcohol that way. It's a private business, serving themselves. And I
don't. Oh yeah, I knew about that. On the porch?
Yeah, they had to do it last. That was a big one person.
Yeah. But one of them, I don't know. I've got some, digging into that property. I mean, I've dug it pretty hard to find out. I'm digging for sure. Hopefully by this weekend. Yeah.
I don't know, I'm here. You didn't come here many last year.
He was outside, that's right.
It could be worse than the rain.
They make chicken raisins for you up there.
They were still running in the rain.
You know, I'm the
Yes.
Using that cross country too. She can smoke us in 5 days.
She did good though. Proud of her.
You said they're going to start separating these out. Most of them got through them already. Like it. I don't know. Do software or something.
Okay, I got
I guarantee you that's the same as what the council's going to do.
I may give you a physical copy as well as email copy. I don't think it's chance to get it. Okay. All right, thanks.
I'm not worth a senior.
That's on council. Third one down.
I'm not worth a senior coffee.
This one's done.
That's 50. No, I don't either.
The ordinance for reward fee.
No,
Yeah.
senior
Well,
coffee.
I didn't know that I had to have the additional advertising.
59 cents.
That's my first
Do
one. I seen that out there. And that's
So it's next meeting.
what's that for?
As long as I pass it tonight, that's the money.
Yeah, I mean,
And that was awful sweet of you.
For the fit testing.
Oh, okay. Who else pays? Aurora. Cool.
I didn't get one from Aurora.
That's fine.
A year? Okay.
that does look a lot more.
Yeah. No, it's CEOs, no. Not to my knowledge. I haven't seen any. Okay.
Call this Board of Works meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Member Donnie Bryant.
Present.
Member Aaron Cook.
Here.
Member Bill Bruner.
Here.
Member Mario Todd.
Here.
Assistant Police Chief Mike Lanning.
Here.
Assistant or deputy?
Yeah.
Deputy Fire Chief Rob Schutte. I don't know. Oh, there it is on there. EMS Director Bobby Mills.
Here.
Attorney Leslie Votaw.
Here.
Utility Director Olin Clausen.
Present.
Mayor Dennis Carr.
Here.
And myself.
Any announcements? Hearing none, approve the minutes of previous meeting.
So move.
Second.
And second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Committee reports. Fire Department.
Mayor, right now, we're currently still in the process of going through over 300 businesses here in the city, doing our yearly pre-plans, life safety inspections, and then doing the sketches of each building pre-plan for the ISO, the Insurance Services Office, part of our yearly thing. So we're about wrapping that up. Got some new businesses popping up here and there. And what else we got here? Also, Friday and Saturday with the weather, we got most of our guys through our annual physical agility test down at the tower. We had some new guys wanted to come on, and everybody's doing well. The rain kind of scattered some people away on Sunday, but we're going to reschedule that. Otherwise, I don't have anything.
The ISO report, how did it come out?
We went from a 5 to a 4. We went one point down, 10 being the worst, 1 being the best. Not too many places out in the United States that are 1. So we went from a 5 to a 4, which anybody knows anything about the ISO, that's an independent insurance rating that rates your insurance premiums. Something from a point drop, you probably won't see much as a homeowner, if anything. You might see a little bit like if you own a hair salon, but the big businesses like the MGPs, the Proximos, probably see a nice little substantial savings. So it did help with the good equipment we have, the water systems we have, the infrastructure we have, the personnel with some full time here. That really helped us out drop one. That is really good when you drop. You don't want to go the other way, but we dropped, so we are down to 4 now. That's good.
There's a few things we had to brush up on.
Yeah, a few things. One was we have to do yearly hydrant flushings. We have to do a lot of it comes down with some record keeping, and another thing is on these life safety inspections and pre-plans. What we're doing is going in every business. We have been in the past going to every business, finding out who owns it, walking through, looking for anything that's a life safety, not a code enforcement violation. But now we have to include a sketch of every floor plan. So if it's 3 floors, you got to hand sketch 3 floors where everything is too. So that's one thing that we had to start doing sketches. So my guys are getting pretty good at drawing. So.
Very good. Have any more?
That's all I have, sir.
Thank you. Police Department.
No report, Mayor.
EMS?
Yeah, I have our run totals for the month of March. We had 154 calls in March. That's all.
154 calls?
154 calls.
I'd have to.
Quite a bit of calls. Picking up, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
How many runs you have last year?
1558 last year. And we've already done 550 this year already.
Getting worse.
Yeah, that's all I have.
Building Department call, Ryan?
No report, Mayor.
Okay. Okay, the new business, mini ice machines for Little League. E.G., I believe you, is each here?
Thank you, Mayor. I'm here to request for the Lawrenceburg Little League fields 2 ice machines at a cost of $5,346 per machine. This helps with the concession stands. I know we've talked to different people, and we were asked to come and make this presentation to the Board of Works.
What's that price one more time?
$5,346 for each one.
I think they had in the packet. The ice machines they buy, Manawak, because they got all some parts and filters for them. I think that's what they got priced out.
That's the low bid, the 5,000.
I think so. I think everything's in your packet, I think.
The lowest bid seems to be from Modern Ice Equipment Supply.
Aaron, what I was handed, there was something at $4,828.86 is what I'm looking at from the Modern Ice Equipment, but from what I'm told, just from the city employees and some of the Lions Club representatives, that really doesn't fit the needs of those concession stands.
This is the chipped ice?
Yes.
Okay, it's not the regular cube.
Sorry, I don't see any difference. There's a model RF0399A, which is a flaker ice machine, and Manitowoc, I guess that's how you say it.
Manawak, yes.
Under Valley Refrigeration Services, $4,162, and for modern ice equipment is $3,679.84. The next size up for Valley is $5,346, and from modern ice equipment is $4,828.
What's the board want to do?
It's the same model, isn't it?
It looks like the same model number anyway.
Again,
Which one is it that they
from
need?
what I was told, the one that they need down there is the second one under the Valley Refrigeration.
The more expensive one.
Right.
Is there any trade-in value to the
It's-
old ones?
Is it what?
Any trade-in value for the old ones? They still,
I think the one has been down there probably 15 or 20 years, and it's
They repair
completely
that
dead.
thing
And
many
the other
times.
one, whoever's running concession stand had to run back and forth on it. So Leslie, the only thing I see here, the model numbers are different on the Valley Refrigeration Service.
Do you have all three in front of you, EG?
I have two,
So you have the modern ice, modern,
yes.
because on the Valley, it's model RF0644A, Flaker Ice Machine. And then on the modern ice, it's the same one, RF0644A.
I see what you're saying, yeah.
At 48.
Like same machine.
Then we also got one from Terry's, it looks like, for the prior one. So that one's high. That's the highest one we have for the smaller one. Doesn't look like you got a quote from Terry's on the larger one.
I see what you're saying, Aaron, about that. I don't know if those are looks like the same model number.
Most of those model numbers, the cabinet might change or something like that. One might be stainless steel or plastic. A lot of it is. What's the board want to do?
these are only used, what, 3-4 months out of the year?
Probably that.
Right.
Yeah.
In the summer months when they use it. What's the board want to do?
I'd be in favor of going with the lowest bid, but they're not.
Which,
the old ones
I think
last
that's
15
the
years, I mean,
4828,
Modern ice?
which as Aaron pointed out is the same
Same model.
model number.
Yeah, it does look like it's about $500 cheaper, so I can't really tell you what the, the person that put these together wasn't able to come tonight, so.
Oh, okay, I was going to say, who received the quotes? Was this somebody from the Lions Club or?
No, I think,
I think it could have been somebody from the city.
Pat Kennedy,
Pat Kennedy got those for Mike's crew, I think.
yeah.
Donnie, did you make a motion down there?
yes,
The low bid modern ice?
yes.
Second.
All in favor?
All right.
Somebody make a second.
Aaron?
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. Sorry, go ahead.
All in favor, say aye. Okay.
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it. That's for model RFO 399A.
No,
No,
No?
RFO 644A.
correct.
The Manitowok,
Okay.
yeah. Is that what it was, Donnie?
Is that for two or
Okay.
one? Who's your motion?
He asked for two.
Okay.
Breach concession.
They're 15 years old, but
Okay.
Okay, thank you very much.
Easy.
Donnie, can you clarify your motion then, to make sure we're not talking about one unit, but 2 units?
Add that two of them to you.
yeah, I'd make a motion that we get the 2 units FRO 644A, is
Yeah,
it?
okay.
Here a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Thank you.
Ayes have it. They asked me to ask to waive the fees for the parking garage for Lauren Hill's Wednesday night, 22nd, for the balloon event.
What time does that start, Mayor?
Huh?
What time does that start? Do you know?
6, I think. I'm real sure. I think it's 6 o'clock.
6 o'clock.
I entertain a motion.
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, got a thing, the trailer and tractor used for Christmas drive for Connie Canoe goes around. I need a motion to use that.
So move.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, Leslie 4-H lease agreement.
Guess, does the board have any questions on the lease that was included in your packet?
Yeah, I just had one question. I thought somewhere here it said that, that's the only event that could be there during that week, but I was wondering about the racetrack. I'm trying to find it right now.
I usually work in conjunction with each other pretty well.
Mr. Ruda said that was gonna be my question.
In fact, they do a
too.
joint
I think
event
that
on
was
the,
worked that out.
Yeah,
That's what I thought. I just
I
wanted
think
to
that
make
was
sure.
worked it out.
kind of a kid-friendly.
And I do know, Aaron, that there are some provisions in the lease with the racetrack that has, we made sure that this was also addressed, the 4-H lease agreement.
Yeah.
As the prior agreement was for 20 years as well.
Any more questions?
No, we don't need to read the lease. If you want us to read, I can. The board want it read into the
Board want to
record?
vote on it or read it?
I think we ought to table it, check, make sure everything's okay between the two parties.
Yeah, I found it says leaseor and leasee mutually agree that no other activities take place on the leased premises from Saturday to Sunday, the third full week of June. As long as Mr. Rudisell's okay, then I'm fine with it.
Can you entertain a motion?
make that a motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve the 4-H lease agreement, contingent upon the Lawrenceburg Speedway's approval of the same week.
There a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Yeah.
All opposed? Ayes have it. Mario Todd, Verdant Maintenance Agreement.
Yes, Your Honor. In the packet, you'll see the agreement that was set out, I believe, back in 2002 with the Verdant Company to maintain the clock tower, city hall bells, firehouse bells, and also the arch at US 50. That's for 2 site visits. We had had this put on hold while the event center was being constructed, and now it's time to make it active.
There's budgeted money for this?
Yes, comes under monuments. Total pricing is $22,725.
How much, Mario?
$22,725.
Anything on the board?
Just maybe we should change some of the contact info, because I see on 2 of these Tom Stidle's still on there.
And the PO box is fine.
And I think Mr. Cunningham's on there also.
Yeah, on the last one.
Yeah.
Okay. Entertain a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it.
That's all I had, Your Honor.
Okay. Old business, Leslie Tall River Watch Lease Agreement.
There are 2 copies of proposed leases that I told you I would bring to the board. The first one with the red markings is what they've, I sent the original one, which for your information, I guess, is the one that has lease agreement underlined on a house, and also page numbers at the bottom. That is the original one that we sent to Mr. Round's attorney. The one with the red markings on it is their proposal back to us.
I have a lot of questions about this. I've brought it up several times before.
Do you want to set up a work session?
I would like to voice my objections to this right here,
Okay.
right now.
I'll answer if I can.
Well, first of all, I don't believe the city should be renting a boat out and all the liability and everything falling back on us. There's no taxes coming from it. We've spent approximately $750,000 in repairs on this thing. And I think the rent is what, $1 a month?
According to this,
I
would
thought it
be
was-
36.
No, not according to this, according to what he's,
The old one?
The original one was a nominal amount per year.
Yeah,
it was.
yeah.
And I spoke to you before about this, and I think you said it would be $450, and I'm reading through here, it's down to $300. These kids in this town pay more than that for a one-room shack. It's not right for us to own this thing and have all this liability and responsibility. It's costing us more. Just the other day, we had to move all this brush and stuff coming down the river and everything. We almost lost a little kid down there. There's just so many reasons we should not be in this rental business of this boat. It needs to be sold. I'd like to make a motion, we put it up for sale.
As far as the rental amount, the last motion that was made from this board was for me to get with Mr. McDaniel is his name, the attorney for Mr. Round, to try to see what we could come to as far as an agreement. That motion was made and voted on by the Board of Works. And so that's what we've done. It has taken some time to do that. But the reason I put these in here was for the parties to say, no, this is not acceptable. Or, like I said, if you want to have another work session where we can sit down and talk about it, if you do not want to lease this to Riverwatch any longer, obviously you have the ability to do that. I'm just going by the last motion that was passed by the Board of Works, which was get with Mr. McDaniel, bring back some lease terms to us.
Well, it's our boat. His contract is up. I think,
How much notice is needed to terminate?
Under the prior lease?
Is that what you have to go back to?
Yes. I believe it was 180 days, I believe. I'm sorry, I did not bring the prior lease with me.
I have it here somewhere.
Okay.
We've talked about it for about 6 months now, I think. We've been throwing this thing back and forth.
Yeah, I think it'd be paragraph 2 there, wouldn't it?
I did-
In terms of the lease.
I believe so.
We vote something like this in, the next administration's gonna have to live with it. And, he can renew it. It says in here, he can even lease it out to somebody, portions of it.
What's the last one, Leslie, 2008?
Or
The
nine.
last signed one?
I believe 8 or 9, yes. Want me to look?
Yeah, I got two of them.
Thank you. And that's under paragraph 12. It's 90 days. Oh, no, I'm sorry. If mutually agreeable terms are still not determined after 90 days, the mediator, we should go to mediation and they will mediate the terms of the lease.
I think under his old contract, it even says that, he can buy it for $1. Am I not right?
That's what I was gonna say. I think
I'll
it's
tell
in
you
here
what.
somewhere.
It's worth $1 to get that thing out of our hands.
And we sent, I mean, in our new lease agreement, we did address that, but, yes, you're right. But the notice of non-renewal, to answer your question, Mr. Todd, is 180 days from the date of the termination date, which would have been June of 13.
So you would still have to honor that, correct?
Yes.
So even per his motion, we would still be bound to the 180 days?
Yes. I do think he would have a cause of action against the city under the old lease agreement. Whether or not he'd be successful in that, I don't know, but
I'll say it's in his contract that he has the first option to purchase or whatever it states, but don't we have to, as a municipality, get it appraised and offer it for sale first?
yes.
I would so move we do so.
To get it,
Motion
to get it
on the floor.
appraised, to get it appraised?
Give him his notice and get it appraised.
Have a motion on the floor.
When it's appropriate, I would ask to respond to several of the objections by the
I
board.
got a motion, then we can see his motion. first.
Hold on, this is Mr. McDaniel. He just has, I mean, he wants some
You've got a
discussion.
motion on the floor?
You still have,
Did I hear a second?
Well, I wanted to
Well, there's
clar-
discussion.
I got
About the
discussion.
you have,
Second.
you have to get the second or no second first.
I want to get clarification to Donnie's. Was it two motions there to get appraisal and put him on notice?
Put him on notice, and then we start the appraisal process.
I don't hear a second.
Is that your phone?
I'd like a second.
I would like to hear what he's.
Well, I was gonna
what he's
stop
got
and
to say here.
then talk after that second.
Okay, sorry about that.
Okay, go ahead.
Yes, this lease that was operated under Riverwatch until 2008, that's no longer effective right now. That lease expired last year, and so right now, Riverwatch, as it stands, has no lease whatsoever. Our intent with this was to address prior concerns by the board that were raised in trying to effectuate a new lease agreement, and we had several differences, and myself and city council had worked out those differences as best we thought that could be presented before the board. Some of that related to the lease term. The prior agreement was for its term of 5 years. This term is also for 5 years. However, it allows for a termination after 5 years by mutual agreement of the parties within 180 days. We've also addressed all issues concerning liability in the case. We understand there was a heartbreaking case where a small child fell into the water, and that could cause some liability to inure to the city as a result of certain accidents. So since that time, my client, Mr. Rowland, has taken all appropriate measures to fully secure the premises, and he's invested quite a considerable sum into boosting safety concerns. We've also included those liability provisions within this renewed lease agreement. I think this is going to provide protection for both parties. It'll provide enhanced protection for the city. It requires my client to, at all times, retain a public liability and property damage insurance on the leased premises in the minimum amount of $500,000 per person and $1 million aggregate. And so that would address the safety concerns regarding liability. Therefore, it would shield the city's liability before any of that could reach to the city's coffers. That would be covered under my client's policy, which he would fully fund. Another concern was his payment of rent on a monthly basis. The board was previously concerned that the rent was nominal. In this case, we've addressed that and required him to pay $3,600 per year. So it's a fair rate considering what existed prior to this renewed lease agreement that we're attempting to execute. It's valuable consideration. There's a good, strong argument that this is a fair market value. This is a business premises. We think it outweighs the detriments that the city could incur by having an empty vacant spot, which brings in no revenue, no jobs to the surrounding community. And so this provision of the lease actually addresses some of those concerns. Regarding the option to purchase, there was a concern that the prior lease allowed for the lease purchase option at $1. That was, the board found that to be quite an unfair result because it didn't address the issue of whether it should be sold at fair market value. This option of purchase is much more reflective of what should be included upon any option to purchase. It requires that the original fair market value of the barge upon the lessor's initial acquisition date, plus any increases to the fair market value of the barge added by lessor's improvements during the span of lessor's ownership, minus all depreciation since the time of lessor's initial date of acquisition and subsequent improvements. And so we had competing provisions on that. Leslie had referenced 2 copies of the lease agreement. I actually do have a finalized version because the board right now has a marked up version, and I would ask to submit right now the finalized version.
Well, one of the things I did, Mike, or Matt, that I would have, I think that when we talked, it was that each party would obtain an independent appraisal of the premises by a licensed appraiser, and the purchase price would be the average of the 2 appraisals heretofore obtained. And I know what you sent me back does not have the 2 appraisals. I would insist on that. It wouldn't, and those appraisals can contain the same information that you're talking about, but 2 independent appraisals, I think, is the right way to go.
Let me remind the board again, you know, there's no, the city owns it, there's no taxes being paid on it. The equipment, this is how sweet that deal was back in the day when they got it. The equipment come from a restaurant right up the road here, and it was wrapped up in plastic. It was brand new equipment, was gave to him. I mean, this is such a sweetheart deal. And some of these people out here own businesses right here in town. They pay more than what he's wanting to pay in taxes to this city. It's just, we just do not need to own that boat.
Since there's not a new lease, you can always put it within the leasehold, taxes be paid on that, correct? Based on the appraisal. That can be crafted into a new agreement if that's when you're concerned, it's not about taxes being paid.
But as it stands, he's not paying any kind of property tax.
Correct.
And still, again, I say that it's just too much liability for this city to leave that boat down there and people operate it. He can even lease it out to somebody else. Sure, you got insurance, and they would sue his insurance company, but they would really sue ours.
To address the issue, you're concerned with taxes. Our understanding of the taxes in the prior lease agreement was based upon a provision within federal law, which actually did not require that property to be part of the city. It was actually part of the waterway, and under federal law, it wasn't attached to the city and wasn't subject to inspections, taxes. This new lease agreement actually reflects that provision and makes this boat part of city property so that it can be taxed, it can contribute to the community, and that it does pay property taxes as well. That fully addresses that concern.
Mayor, I'm not sure on this here, but are they on our permit actually to be?
City's got the permit there, yes.
They're even on our permit.
Carl, I think you got right of entry inspection, don't you?
No, not yet.
Not yet?
I believe you said we had to do an ordinance in order to do that, correct?
Okay.
But in the same token, Matt, where is that provision in here? Because it doesn't say it under the number 7. That's what yours.
But you said he's got a new one, right? This one's the one that's marked up.
Oh.
Well, the provision I see says that the lessee shall pay all legal and properly issued taxes, and then it has the remainder of the provision, and that's construed under this lease agreement to be property of the city because it is actually permanently affixed. And when a structure, the issue is rather complex, but when a structure is permanently affixed to the docks and moorings of a land-based structure under state law, it becomes the property, or it becomes subject not to federal law, but state law. It's not preempted federally. So that's where the tax provision would kick in, and that is a proper provision under the taxes.
But you understand that what he's saying is, okay, so that happens in the state, you know, they are subject to property taxes. The lessor, who's the city, is exempt from property taxes. But there's nothing in here that says that Mr. Round or Riverwatch Inc. will pay the property taxes.
If they caught on fire and there was damages, city would have to fix it out of their pocket right off the bat, and then they would have to battle him to recover more loss. I mean, it's just, there are just so many things that.
That would be a question for the assessor, though, if we did the ordinance in order to do what you're talking about. Mr.
I honestly believe if we adopt the language of the Corps, every question that you're having here would be answered, because the Corps will state that that will become a permanently structure of the land. It's not to them anymore. It's a permanent structure.
Moored.
Or as a vessel, no more. But we do not have that adopted.
And that'll give you right to inspect the
Will
property.
be treated as a permanent vessel, as, it will no longer be a vessel, it will be a structure to us.
There's so much cost that all of us don't know about, I don't even know about, even with the rising and lowering of the water. There's a part in it we got to take care of and ensure that it's done right, and the hookups, electricity, everything that goes down there.
It is a complex and rather unique operation down on the river, and but we feel like it's a fair shot. The casinos, the same provisions are made for the casinos, and the same laws that apply to the casino boats. We feel like, these startups like Mike Rowan's Riverwatch should also have a shot at some kind of river mooring as well. He's really built this, as you mentioned before, on the basis of a fair market value that was substantially nil, and he's improved this property substantially. We don't have any estimates as to what the fair market value is right now, but we think that...
Actually, he's put another boat attached to it, which makes it one boat. There's another one we're responsible for.
Well, I think the issue of responsibility clearly falls on him as a boat owner, and so if there's any concerns about, responsibility and liability, this new lease properly addresses that in that it requires him to be responsible for everything that's actually on the boat, whereas the city is responsible for everything from the point of the dock to the land. And so everything that's already part of the land, the city is responsible for. Mike Rowan's responsible for his boat.
Actually, too, if we decide to develop that area down in there and we hold up his business because his boat that he's getting for $1 a month is in the way, we could have to reimburse him for his losses. I mean, there's just one problem after another with this deal.
We agree that the issues are complex and that there's a lot of challenges that could be met going forward. Right now, we have no development right there. Going forward, we would hope that his land-based business would be part of that development, and that could contribute to development. If we had 20 businesses like Mike Rowan's on the river, what a great thriving economic environment that would provide. It would provide a lot of jobs as well. So we could probably work through those concerns. We agree there are a lot of considerations.
And then he run off to Florida for the winter, where I guess his home is, I'm not sure. I made a motion, Your Honor, to the board that we give him his 180-day notice, and
I think we should adopt this ordinance too, so the city's got some protection when it comes up. It's up, you made a motion?
I already made the motion.
I'll adopt this.
No, give him a 180-day notice.
I'd like a
Yes.
second. You can make another motion.
Well, it sounds like we need to, before we do anything, I think we need to adopt an ordinance to
think
give
we
us more
should, too.
protection.
I think we should too.
Carl?
Everything that we've been through down there,
Well, I think, I'm sorry, Carl, but I think if you do that, you're opening up, giving this guy the impression that he's got some rights and he would hold us liable that we're backing out of a deal.
No, the ordinance,
Back us in
the
the
ordinance
corner,
give us more
'cause we've
protection.
had this happen before.
Yeah. This is not the contract. The ordinance give us more protection on it. Then you go through the contract, whatever you want to do with it. Whether you want to do it or not. What's the rest of the board think?
Well,
Mr. Frank?
he's got 180 days if you would pull the trigger tonight if that motion would have passed, correct? I feel that we should at least see what they have to negotiate with, but I'm not in favor of going beyond a year, I should say into 16. I'd like to keep it at the end of this year.
And anything you bring back should be this board before this board meets so they can go through it.
And that's,
Anything hand out tonight, we're going to table.
but I did give you copies of what he proposed
Yeah.
back to the, right,
I've got two of them here.
yeah. One is what we
Yeah.
proposed to him, and then the one with the red is
Yeah.
what he came back with.
Yes.
He can get copies of. So what is I want to hear what you were going to say, Mr. Fryman, before Mr. Bryant interrupted you.
I forgot.
I'm sorry?
I forgot.
I'm sorry, Carl.
Forgot.
About the ordinance, Carl.
About the ordinance.
About the ordinance.
Oh, it's just the same thing. Every conversation that we have with the Corps and everybody involved with that down there I've had issues with it. I was the one there, I think Mario and I was down there at the 4th of July when this happened. The threat of the permit being pulled is there. It's going to hang over our heads, I believe, in my interpretation of the response that we got back. There's absolutely nothing that we can do with it past the water's edge at this point. Now, if you go to the Corps says they're done with it. They have,
Permanently moored.
because it is permanently moored. So,
See, that was my understanding. I had no inkling that we had to do any type of ordinance.
well, in the state of,
Per their specs is permanent.
for what he's talking about on waterway development, the state of Indiana stops at the water's edge. Now, we can go over there, we've been asked to inspect electric for insurance reasons, different things, but that's done as a courtesy. I have no power to it until this is adopted, and it says it is a permanent structure, that the Corps is done with it, and it will fall back upon us.
And that'd protect our permit too.
That we won't allow anything to happen down there that's no different than any other business that's in town that applies for a permit to us. If they, like the roof that was put on. That would have, to be honest, that wouldn't have happened.
And any future lease agreements, I would like to see that, I'm in favor of the increased, lease amount like Donnie is.
Plus taxes.
Plus the property taxes. Of course, they carry the insurance. They're responsible for the driftwood cleanup. If the city does it, then, they'll have to reimburse the city or get a lien against the property, well, their personal property. And they take care of all the maintenance themselves.
Number 9 on my draft does include, and I think that's something you might have removed, but,
Talking about the rubbish and all
the
that.
rubbish.
I don't think it clarifies what was down there. I mean, to me, that's language.
Damage or obstructions from the high river.
Right,
I mean,
but
that's pretty
still-
broad. I
that's
think
still-
that would have covered what was down there. I think. What do you think, Mr. Todd?
To another.
I mean, we were the ones that actually came up with that language, I believe.
Right, high water or other conditions.
Also, under that number 9, the leaser will replace all the HVAC. You realize how many years, if you got any rent or tar out of it,
As
it'll take us
needed
to
in
recover
the spring
that?
of 2015.
Well, I got my argument there, I'm done with.
Anything else, board?
Mr. Cook, could you, I mean, I can review the minutes, or can you just get me your concerns? Can you email me
Yeah,
or something?
yeah.
That'd be great. And I would invite the board to also, give me any suggestions, and I can review those with Mr. McDaniel.
Do you have another copy? You
I
said
have a
that-
finalized copy that's not a marked up version.
Okay. Yeah. You can make copies and
Okay.
get that to everybody.
You want to table this?
I would so move the table.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? Opposed? You vote? Roll call, please.
Oh, okay, wait a minute. Mario,
Yes.
Aaron,
Yes.
Bill.
Yes.
Okay. Donnie,
No.
okay, it's 3-1.
Okay. But I think we ought to adopt this ordinance too. Let it get that road up and,
Do you need a motion for that?
no, but I'd like to have one. Adopting ordinance, write one up. Well, the city's got some protection. Any motion?
I would so move.
Second?
What's the motion for?
I guess it'd be a recommendation,
Your Honor, before you-
favorable recommendation
Before
to
you vote
council.
on that, is that ordinance gonna leave the impression that we're gonna deal with this in a
No, this is just to
favorable way?
protect the city. So Carl has a right to go into the boat and everything like that.
Well, I'm in favor of that.
This motion is to prepare an ordinance?
Yeah, prepare an ordinance.
Well, actually, it would be a recommendation to council to prepare an ordinance, because I think
I would so move the council with a favorable.
there you go.
Here, second?
Second.
All in favor?
Nah.
All opposed? Ayes have it.
Hold on
Thank
just one minute. Mayor, there's been if we could bring up, there was a wreck and there was damage to someone's truck by a city vehicle. Happened a couple months ago. I was wondering, I just need to try to bring it up to this board and also bring it up to council. But Lisa's here, and she asked that it be put on. She asked me outside if this is something we could review tonight.
I'll allow it.
Okay. Lisa, if you want to come forward.
Thank you, Leslie. My name is Lisa Doyle. On April 6th, front end of my truck was heavily damaged by a Lawrenceburg garbage truck. According to a state police report, the garbage truck was found to be the cause of the accident, and I've been without my truck for 2 weeks. My business heavily depends upon the use of my truck. I have talked with Leslie, and we discussed issues surrounding the insurance's unwillingness to pay for claims and resolve claims in a timely manner. The next board meeting isn't until May, and I need to somehow try to get my truck in the shop and get it fixed. I'm asking the board to allow Leslie to expedite the process, and should she, upon further investigation, should she find that payment should be approved, that the board will allow her to make that decision on her own without waiting till the next board meeting.
Can we get some back history on the accident?
Would you explain what happened? They probably don't know.
Sure. I was at a stop sign, and the garbage truck was parked 2 lanes over in the parking area, and the garbage truck darted out onto Highway 50 in a very rapid manner and took off the front of my truck. As I was trying to turn right, it darted in front of me. I was in my legal lane making a proper right-hand turn, and the garbage truck took off from its parked position and darted in front of me. Police investigative report, which I have with me, shows clearly that the garbage truck was the cause of the accident.
Leslie, you seen that report?
Mike, you got any kind of report?
I have not seen the report.
It was turned
Indiana
over to
State.
the Indiana State Police.
Was Indiana State.
Officer Hedrick was the actual officer on the scene. I believe that there was some confrontation between Officer Hedrick and her, reference. She was saying that you work for the city, you're corrupt. I don't, something of that nature is what I'm being told by Officer Hedrick. So he actually at that time made a decision to call the Indiana State Police to come and investigate it. So that would take us completely out of the
Very good.
the realm, being that it did involve one of our city trucks. As far as the report from the Indiana State Police, I have not seen that, no.
And I believe Ms. Doyle and our site's insurance, I was in a deposition all day, so I didn't receive anything, was unable to follow up on this, but there was a letter from our insurance carrier that said that they are not, they're not going to cover this at all.
Had they already received a report or something?
Yes. The adjuster had come down and talked to Ms. Doyle.
I have the report here if any of you would like to see it.
I'd like to get a copy of it.
Is it from the Indiana State Police?
Yes, it is. And by the way, to clarify, I never at any time said an officer was corrupt, but I did say, I understand what is going on here. You've got a city policeman here. You also have the garbage truck that works for the city, so there is a conflict of interest. And that's when he got the state police involved, which was about 25 to 30 minutes after the original accident. And the city policeman also let the garbage truck leave the scene of the accident So they couldn't even check books, check records, they couldn't do anything, and the state police had to ask them to bring the truck back to observe.
No, I'm not saying you're right or wrong, but I know when a city vehicle is involved in a wreck, we get the Indiana State Police
Right,
to get ourselves out of it, so that hopefully it is just
that's
the
correct.
decision.
Like I said, I didn't know if there was anything you all wanted to do tonight, and I told you that before the meeting. I wanted to get it on the agenda. I do feel like, you know, it is something, an instance where our insurance carrier, our adjuster, I mean, there's other instances that are gonna be brought up later
Yes,
where
there
our
is. Same
adjuster is not finding any fault on behalf of the city. We pay a great deal of money to our insurance carrier, and, you know, for them to, you know, like I said, I was gonna bring it in front of, because she needs her truck back.
Right.
I have not confirmed, you said you do have a copy of the letter denying coverage, correct?
Yes,
Can I see a copy of that?
sure.
Our insurance has been denying a lot. Maybe it's time we go shopping for insurance.
Well, Your Honor, I don't think we can make a decision tonight with what
we
little
can
information we
look.
have. I mean, we can call a special meeting, correct, Les,
Yes.
so she doesn't have to wait to the,
Right.
but I don't feel comfortable making a decision without the information in front of me.
And this is from GIE, which is governmental insurance exchange. And I believe they're saying under the comparative fault statute.
You got the state police report to you?
Yes. there's that.
I'd like to get copies of everything and take the information, and if the board would like to call a special meeting. Public meeting.
I mean, even if under our policy, they don't feel that we have coverage, I mean, I think it would be up to this board and ultimately up to council as well, whether or not to pay it in light of that.
We'd have to send it on to council for the appropriation, correct?
Correct.
I like to have the information
Ms.
reviewed.
Doyle also did tell me that she got 3 estimates for the damage to her truck, which she said she could provide to me.
I have 2 right now, Leslie.
2? Well,
I haven't got the 3rd, but
No.
the 2 are very close together. If you'd like a 3rd, I can certainly ask somebody else to quote it.
No, 2 would be fine
And I-
for the
Did I
board's
hear you
review.
say our insurance company says we don't have coverage?
No, our insurance company is denying coverage.
What's the board want to do?
I'm like Mario, I need more information, need to see the paperwork and before I make any kind of decision.
You want to set another meeting up, maybe end of the week or something?
Why don't Leslie, why don't you check into it? See if you can get something figured out.
Okay.
I could definitely ask for a special meeting. We only need 48 hours to do so. So I told her outside that I really wanted to talk to Zach. I wanted to talk with sites, also possibly, you know, GIE and their stance. Because if Lisa actually has to file suit in order to claim, you know, she's not going to have a truck for months.
So Sites is the agent, and this is the underwriter on it, correct?
Correct. Government or Insurance Exchange, GIE.
We have some other issues too they've denied. We're paying a lot of money for insurance.
I wasn't gonna bring that up. If you wanna talk about it, we can. I ain't happy with it.
Lisa, you want to just bring these back by the office tomorrow, and I'll make sure I get copies to all the guys here.
It's up to this board, insurance.
Was that a motion, Aaron, to table till more information was provided.
Yeah, so move.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Yeah.
All opposed? Okay. Thank you. Review and discuss claims board approval.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion adjourned.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Utility board in 5 minutes.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
That's the only break I get. Oh, yeah, between the next meeting, I do
All these people need
But who should treat it? Or college? The way they're
Good decision.
Get on the annual veterans obligation.
Yeah, that's a,
I don't know.
I would think anyway.
They usually try to put together a program from the parks and,
Can you think about it? I didn't know there was an issue.
I'm doing it along. Sunday night.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, we get there all the time.
Not much in
I don't know, we have to ask Leslie. I really don't know, because it's just, yeah, and we haven't done anything with it, so I don't know. Well, yeah. How are things going for you? Yeah. Well, I found out Friday that Bruce McLeister's not there anymore. I'm like, okay, now who? well, you know. Oh, oh, yeah. I don't have a clue. Oh, okay. Just, well.
About the lease program.
Yeah, I don't agree on something. When they pass it,
They
right?
haven't done anything with it yet, so we're kind of still negotiating. You mean by the public records law? I'd have to check. I can find out for you if it is. Okay. I think it might be considered public record once it's actually brought up in the meeting. But let me double check before I say yes.
It's already gone out to bid.
I've been working with him for years, so that's it. Good specs. We talked about them. Ohio has like the state town.
Yeah, I think so.
They ain't gonna look at it.
We're all here.
Yeah, Thank you.
Call utility board meeting to order.
What it does on the debris.
Roll call, please.
Member Jane Pope. Present. Member Aaron Cook.
Here.
Member Bill Bruner. Here. Member Mike Lawrence.
Here.
Member J.R. Holcraft, who is absent. Attorney Leslie Votaw.
Here.
Utility Director Olin Clausen.
Present.
Mayor Dennis Carr.
Here.
And myself.
Any announcements? Hearing none, approve the minutes of the previous meeting.
Your Mayor, I got one comment, the bottom of the page. It said motion, Donnie Bryant, second, Jane Pope. I don't know who made the first motion, but it wasn't Donnie Bryant because he doesn't sit on this board.
Is that the bottom of the first page, Jane, or?
Yeah, bottom utility board,
Okay.
April 6th.
Okay,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Need a motion?
I'll approve the minutes with the correction, but do we know who made the first motion?
I don't know.
What was the motion about, Jane?
Approve all the claims.
Oh, to approve the claims? Oh,
Have to watch the tape.
Yeah, let's watch the tape.
yeah. I live for that.
Okay, you put down a motion with your changes?
Yes, I approve the minutes with the corrections.
You have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Ayes have it. Committee reports.
Your Honor, everybody probably noticed the truck in the parking lot. That is a demo of, I don't know if the other one has showed up yet or not. There was one out there when I came in, and I think a second one was due to show up, so.
It's kind of hard to miss that
There.
one.
Yeah, okay.
Second one's
So
there.
those trucks are demo units. The utility department is currently testing those out, seeing what they like about them, what they don't like about them. As you know, and as we've talked about in earlier meetings, we're looking at repairing or replacing the truck that we have, the back truck that we have. So those demo units will be here today and tomorrow, and they'll use them again tomorrow. They used one today, they'll use the other one tomorrow, and kind of see what they do and don't like about the two trucks. And Andy, I'll turn a little bit of time over to Andy on this issue, but we'll wait till old business since it's something we've discussed. But Andy's got some information on that, but we'll be looking to get some formal pricing and also a breakdown of what that pricing would look like in leases and outright purchase, et cetera.
Okay.
But we'll defer that to later in the meeting. With that, I've got nothing else.
All right. Any more committee report? Okay. New business, Paul Seymour, tap for storm drain.
The other night at redevelopment, we've got a lady and a husband that want to come to Arch Street and Center Street. They've got their financing, so I've made arrangements to build them a house. So I've asked for a piece of property, and one of the things I'd like Owen to consider, things are so tight that I do not want to have to, after the fact, go into an alley or a street, and if I'm going to have to hook my downspouts or put any kind of storm system on the lots, I'm not going to be able to afford to go out in the street and tap into the storm sewer. And what I was asking, and it's not a for sure thing that we'll have to do it, I'm just, I just would like to be able to come back to the board, and I would like the city, if it has to be done, to at least give me a tap and bring it over to the property to where I could tie into it. That'll make the cost be bearable. That's just a question. That's a request.
Talking about a tap and bringing it over, are you talking about the storm drain tap and bringing it around?
Storm drain. I believe that you've got water, and I believe you've got sewer on all that property. I don't think you're going to have any problems with that. However, I know you don't have storm sewer, and what I don't want to happen to me is hey, Paul, you've got to tie your downspouts into the storm drain, and then I go out into the alley and have to bond it or tear up a sidewalk or asphalt and then replace it and put it back. There's just not that much money in these houses, guys. We're trying to get them in, trying to put them in, and I want to keep it going, but that's a request I have, something I'd like you to think about.
My first thoughts are, as far as the utility is concerned, I don't have a single line item in any of my budgets that deals with storm drain.
Okay.
And the reason that I don't is storm drain usually gets developed as part of the city cost as infrastructure goes in, things of that nature. Secondly, along with the city doing the work, I don't have the ability to monetize what that work is and build it into any sort of a rate or anything to recapture those costs on behalf of the utility. So if redevelopment, so we could certainly do the work, but whatever that cost was to do the work, we would have to seek to be made whole on that, unless the city wants to pass an ordinance that deals with these kinds of things and gives these types of services at a discount or free rate. It's really out of my hands. I don't have much of a choice. Now, if redevelopment wanted to pay those costs to extend that storm drain and do those kinds of things, so long as the utility is recouping its costs.
Who paid the cost when we did Fox Drive?
Redevelopment project.
Okay. Because that was all, and I tied into that. We came around and did it around the whole complex. So this is something maybe then I need to bring back up to redevelopment. And just get on that agenda and ask them to do it. And that's fine, I don't mind doing that.
And I hope you understand, like, I literally don't have any line items that deal with the storm drain, the storm sewer. Everything's either water, sewer, and electric, and so if I'm to do the work and allocate the guys to go out and do that, just straight business practice, I've got to be able to recoup those costs on behalf of one of those departments that I will ultimately bill that to.
Well, and just, to clarify this for the audience and everybody, I mean, I know everybody, hey, you buy a lot for $10 and you ought to be able to do a lot. Truth of the matter is we're getting these lots for $10, but that's being passed along. Basically, the city's being generous enough to now, this has just been voted in, is these people are getting a lot and they're going to get 10% and a nice thank you for moving to the city. It's not something that is there's a lot of money generated from it from different subs and different contractors and things, but the percentage of profit on these homes is not a whole great amount. So unfortunately, I guess I'm looking at you saying I really don't have a line item in there for going out in alleys either. So I'm gonna have to come back to redevelopment.
And part of the problem too, Paul, is if we don't have a formal process that we're adhering to, it creates chaos, and it creates, a situation where people don't understand what the utility does or does not do. And the example that I'll use, when I'm sitting up here, I listen to a lot of people say a lot of things, and the example I'll use is when you talked about the concrete, and the city wanting to go back and cover costs for concrete, and how we're going to open the floodgates for other people to come forth and ask for concrete. Well, if I do things without having it spelled out specifically how I'm supposed to do things in an ordinance, I open myself up to the next person coming in and saying, well, you did this, and I want you to do it for me, and next thing you know, I mean, the utility's barely getting back to where we're making a little money.
Well, I would like them to consider making a few ordinances to have the city, because there's a little bit of research I'd like them to do is look back the last 5 years and see how many permits have been granted to anybody besides what we've been doing over there. I mean, I feel like it's a good program, and you guys got a whole lot involved in that property down there. You bought all that, the houses, you paid to tear them down.
Well, please understand that what I'm saying is, I'm not saying I disagree with providing assistance to the residents.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is, in order to do that, there has got to be a formal process that is recognized, that everybody can see and read in black and white, and they understand that, and it's fair and the same to everybody.
And I wouldn't want it any other way.
Sure.
Then that's fine. We'll take it back before redevelopment. So I'll get on the agenda on that.
Olin, would there be a way you could get a rough idea on the cost for redevelopment on that?
Yeah, I could probably go over there and meet with Paul, and we could work through that and come up with what a cost would be.
Just so there's a
Thanks,
real
Paul.
cost presented to redevelopment?
Sure.
Dennis Hutchins asked for that to be polled from the, he's not gonna speak on this.
Oh, okay.
Old business, have none?
No, Your Honor. Old business, Andy. Turn the floor
Okay.
over to Andy.
I guess we do have some.
Olin warned you guys a little bit about the vac truck that's coming up. Our unit is a 1997 machine. We've spent at or over $100,000 on maintenance of this thing over the last 2, maybe 3 years. It's just time to replace it. We're looking at 2 demo units now. They're outside. I hope you saw them both. They were kind enough to bring them down and display them. We did do demo one today, but we'll do the other one tomorrow. We're looking at probably, just to warn you, in the area of $350,000 to $400,000 for a replacement truck. We're considering a lease option. Ballpark on that, you're looking at probably $200,000 outlay for 5 years, and then you would get a new truck and a new lease. Outlay, of course, would increase after 5 years.
When your truck was in an accident,
It wasn't an accident.
damaged pretty
Yeah,
good?
that's over and above the $100,000
That
that,
was about $11,000.
so it was 27,000, I believe, all together on the accident, but outside the $27,000 repairs, we've still spent $100,000 on this truck, on a debris body, pump, tanks, miscellaneous, so
Last 2 years, did you say?
2.5, 3 at the most. It's time. I can't keep dumping money on it.
I'm sorry, and what is the name of the truck? What does the
Is
truck do?
it is a combination sewer cleaner.
Okay, thank you.
The
What
problem
goes-
with a unit like this is when they start to get up in years, you get to a point where the maintenance on them really becomes burdensome. There gets to a point in that ownership where it doesn't make sense anymore to own that unit. Your cost of ownership is going to be unattainable.
Is there going to be any kind of trade-in value on the one we do have?
There is not much trade-in value on what we have. I'm proposing that we put it on USA.gov and auction it. I think we'll get more money that way than we will on a trade-in. Can I ask a question on the accident?
ahead.
Because I wasn't aware. Was that a insurance claim? Did the insurance company pay that?
Correct.
From what I'm hearing, lease option would probably be the best.
Well, I think what we're prepared to do, and I don't want to speak for you, but I think what we're prepared to do is to come back with all of those financial details and to be able to show council exactly what those things look like, what the cash residual is, what maintenance items and things would be included in a lease option, what type of warranties would be included in a purchase option, or vice versa. But what we're prepared to do is to bring those numbers back and let council kind of get their minds wrapped around those.
But you generally said the maintenance part was the most expensive.
Well, we'll have to
Yeah.
weigh that out. We'll have to say, if the truck is if the truck is gonna be relatively maintenance free for 10 to 12 years, then maybe leasing doesn't make sense for us. But if we think perhaps we're going to have some significant maintenance costs before 10 to 12 years, then leasing absolutely makes sense. Less headaches, of course, if you've got a new truck every 5 years. No downtime, no emergencies missed. So we'll weigh all that.
Because of the price of this vehicle, have there been quotes obtained?
Yeah, and the pricing we're looking at is like GSA pricing, so it's other municipalities, other cities have used these prices. Is that not correct, Andy?
That's correct.
And so we wouldn't necessarily have to go through a protracted bidding process. Those prices would be accepted, and we would, State Board of Accounts would be fine with us operating on those prices.
So it is up under the books? Okay, good. There's a bidding book you can go buy.
Yes, there is national pricing available for us to use.
Thank you.
We
Thank
belong
you,
to an
Andy.
organization too, it goes out and gets national bids all over.
Correct. NJPA, I believe.
Yeah, I can't remember. the name for it.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Sandy. Any more old business?
No.
Okay. Review and discuss claims board approval.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion adjourned?
Your Honor,
Yes.
I do believe we have some people here that want to address the utility board.
Okay, come up.
Hi, my name is Greg Walden. I live up on the hill up there, and I'm sure council is aware of the flooding that happened to the basements up there due to the pump. Are you guys aware of that?
Mike, this is the flooding issue at Myers Lift Station that I spoke with you about briefly.
It happened the 14th, I believe, March 14th. And I guess it's been about 5 weeks. I've been in contact with Olin. He's been very helpful. And we contacted the insurance company, sent us a letter, and they said that they are not liable. And it's funny the way the letter was written. It said that the pump was the direct cause of the flooding, but they didn't foresee that, so they're not liable for that, which really doesn't make any sense. I mean, like I told that lady, I don't foresee me running into you, but my insurance is still going to cover it, and
We also did receive a letter from a church.
Lutheran Church.
I just found out they got the church too. I thought it was just the 4 houses.
There was, you said your name was Greg Weldon?
Yes, ma'am.
There was, okay. There was one about Greg and another home up there and the church I got.
Okay.
Yeah, I think there was 4 houses. Yeah.
I might have
And
done
it got
4,
the
I don't know.
church.
Okay.
And I guess my concern is I have been, because I know the city of Nolan, he's got a lot to do and everything like that, and I talked to the mayor, and I guess my concern, what really scared me was, even when the adjuster came, he was taking pictures with one hand, and he predetermined before he ever got out of his car that they wasn't going to pay this claim for some reason. And I was kind of thrown back by that, and especially the unprofessionalism of them and Sykes Insurance. I have to say that. I mean, I talked to the lady over there. She was very rude to me, so I thought, well, I better just let this go. And I contacted Olin, and because, you know, I guess it really isn't my place to talk to the insurance, but I thought it was kind of a, you know, I have insurance, we all do. And when you have something, you call the insurance company, and, you know, you don't foresee an accident happening. And the city by no means didn't do it on purpose, but, you know, I feel that it's an insurance claim. You know, just like anything else, we've all had it. We've ran into people we didn't mean to, and then we call our insurance and we count on them. And this right here is, I don't even know what's happening here.
Have you tried any kind of claim into your homeowner's insurance?
I did, and most and I found this out, most homeowner insurance, you have to have a special rider for that, because any sewerage coming in, any sump pumps or backups, your insurance will not cover that. You have to have a special policy for that. And I think a lot of people don't realize that, and I didn't at the time myself. And you can get it. I mean, you can get that insurance. But I would say the church and the other houses, they're not covered. They're not going to be covered by insurance by ours.
Now, to provide everyone with with an update, Thursday of last week, myself and Leslie, we sat down and we reached out to Sykes Insurance, and we had a very frank discussion with them. As a result of that, I sat down and I drafted a letter detailing my concerns and what I perceived to be some missteps by the adjuster, some omissions on his part in the report that I initially gave him.
Okay.
I detailed those. I got those to Sykes Insurance Thursday afternoon. Mike Sykes called me back, made me aware that he had received the letter. He cautioned me that a letter of determination had already gone out to the customers, and that the customers would be upset, rightfully so.
Right.
That I should convey to them that based on my letter and the content of it, that they would pick that investigation back up. And
okay.
You know, they weren't aware of some of the things that I detailed in there, and quite frankly, I was relying on the adjuster to report the things that I'd given to him in an accurate fashion. And I did detail in that letter that I had some concerns about his motives and the way that he was attempting to deal or subvert the issue.
Right, because it was pretty obvious,
Sure.
Actually.
Because, I mean, listen, as a utility, the first thing we want to do is we want to be good partners to the community. And, you know, we expect people to be diligent and honest in the way they deal with us, and I absolutely want to be the same with our customers.
Right.
And on the treatment of our customers too, I will say that I'm disappointed that every single customer that I spoke to in this regard, every single one, had been talked to poorly by our insurance. They are an extension of the city at that point. I'm displeased with that. If they're going to work for the city, if they're going to represent the city, they need to do so in a fashion that we approve of, and I take issue with that.
Right. No matter what the decision is, they got to act a little professional.
Is that directly from the insurance company or the agency?
That was from the insurance.
That was from, right. And the main lady, Mickey Cummins, and I talked to her directly also, and she was the one that told me they was going to send a letter out, and she was the one that explained that, and I'm ad-libbing this a little bit, but it is the direct result of the pump failing that caused our basements to flood. She said, but we did not foresee this happening, so we are not going to pay the claim. And it's almost like, it's unbelievable if you read that. You know what I mean? It doesn't even make any sense, but I didn't argue with her, and it's not my place. The other thing that I would like to say is this did happen to me, and I think it was before 3 Mile Ridge was put in and before the new pump was put in. My basement flooded, and it was the exact same thing. They was up there at the pump station, and I went up there, and I don't know who the director was at the time, but he was up there, and he said, yeah, the pump's quit, and your basement flooded. So I got an estimate of everything, and I took it to here, I took it to the city, and I'd say in about a week it was resolved. I mean, you know, I have a new carpet in and everything like that, and, you know, and maybe you guys had different insurance or something, but, you know, the city's always been fair, and that's the reason I'm conveying that, is because the city's always been good, Lawrenceburg, and I think it's an insurance glitch or something. I mean, you know, I got, and I'm not trying to be rude, but I believe somebody's liable for this except for me, you know, and, you know, I'm paying for it now. I mean, I'm getting my carpet put in, I have to go on. You know, it's been 5 weeks, so I have to fix my house.
What's your address up there?
713 B.O.B. Road. I'm the very next house, right there, 3 Mile Ridge. I'm the first house here on the left. And Mrs. Lacy, she lives next door to me, and she's elderly, and she's in the hospital right now, so she can't come here and speak or whatever. She's, and they got her walls tore out, and, I mean, her basement is a mess.
What's her address, sir?
She's right next to it, it'd be 715.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Jackie?
712. It's my home downstairs in my living room.
Would you come up and speak to the microphone, please? State your name?
The day it happened, I called Sites Insurance. I'm Sherry Kathman. I live at 712 Bilby. The day it happened, I called Sites Insurance and told them my house was flooded with sewer water, and I'm by myself. What do? I talked to Olin. He said ServPro is good. I called ServPro to the tune of $6,900 to get wet carpet, sewer. They cut drywall, they took out insulation, they took doors off, took baseboards off. My computer was there, my washer and dryer. So I've been living like this for 5 weeks.
Miss Catherine, this is, you live in this space too. This is.
I live in this space.
Thank you.
It's a bi-level. So they were very rude, Sites was. She kept saying, I don't know when the adjuster might be there, and when he came, he didn't want to look at any of the stuff of mine that was ruined. He took a little camera, took a couple little pictures and walked out, and I knew he had his mind made up.
Do you know?
Yeah.
Because the agency was rude with you also?
Very
Do you know
rude.
the lady's name?
The lady that answers the phone.
It's Sites, it's Debbie.
Debbie?
Because the one lady answers the phone, then she switches to Debbie. I don't know what her last name is.
I think there should be a apology letter at least for the rudeness. You know, I'm just not happy to hear this.
Well, we pay a lot of money for insurance. The insurance will be picking this up.
I had Jackie pull that for the utilities side. I think it was $780,000 a year we pay in premiums.
Is that right?
Roughly.
And I don't know what would cover that. You know what I mean? I mean, that's the reason the city has insurance for this. And obviously, you didn't do it on purpose. You couldn't foresee it happening. But accidents happen, and that's why we all have insurance. And that's who you go to. You know, if I run into your car or something happens, I go to my insurance agent, and I expect them to take care of me. And it isn't happening. And I do want to say I appreciate the mayor. I've talked to the mayor, and I've talked to Olin. I probably drove him crazy. And I really appreciate you guys' patience. And, but I'm here.
Your patience.
Well, you know, and me, I'm lucky. I've got boys that come and help. Sherry lives by herself. She does not. Mrs. Lacy is in right now, I understand she's in a nursing home. She got real bad. So nobody can come here and talk for them. I'm lucky I have help. And me and my boys are getting my house back together at my own expense right now. But, you know, it has to be done.
This, you feel, is the city's responsibility?
At this time, I'm not going to have him answer that
Okay.
in another meeting. I would be remiss in doing that. However, we are planning, I've been in depositions for the last 3 days, but I do plan to have a sit-down with the Sites Insurance Company concerning this claim, concerning Ms. Doyle's claim, and get to the bottom of it.
Thank you.
One way or another, and if they are still denying coverage, then that's when we can bring it back to this board.
Yeah, because it's already been 5 weeks, and
I know.
I'm not real
Well,
happy.
and I do think that as far as what Mr. Clausen was talking about, that was 2 weeks ago, correct? That we learned that what the adjuster had found. So, so it took him about 3 weeks for the adjuster to come, is that correct?
My adjuster came pretty quick. My oldest son's an attorney, and he contacted them, and that guy came within about 2 days.
Okay.
But I'm like Sherry, he came in and he was taking pictures with one hand, and I knew, you kind of know. And he even said it, I don't think this is going to be a claim. And I was kind of thrown back that he would even say that to me. At least go back.
Has everybody's place at least been cleaned?
Yes. Every place has been done.
Okay.
And here's another thing, and I'm just a working guy, just like Sherry or anybody else. The thing is, when something like that happens, you don't really think correctly. And like Sherry, they said Server Pro, we all use Server Pro. Mrs. Lacy did, I know Sherry did. I don't know about the church. But it is a big expense. And mine was a little less. Mine's a couple $1,000s less than hers because of my boys. But when I got that bill and got online to get that bill, I mean, it is kind of scary for a working guy. When you got maybe you're looking at $12,000. The carpet I can do and stuff like that, but them big bills coming in, and I'm like, I don't know what to do. And
Could you, if you guys can, and if Miss Lacy, if you know someone that can provide, what money you guys have had to put out of pocket on this?
I can, because her son and daughter, they live in Lawrenceburg also, so they're taking care of her affairs.
They can get that to my office or to City Hall, whichever, and to Mr. Clausen. That would be something we would take in hand when we talk to insurance companies, so.
Okay, so you actually, because I've got a printout of my losses, is that what you're saying?
Yes,
Okay.
also from you, Sherry.
And then the Server Pro is kind of, we kind of got online, and mine was like $4,900. What was yours, Sherry? And hers was $69, but that's not exact. Anything could change on that. But yeah. But and I'm here, and anything council can do, I'd appreciate this,
I want to make sure all the homes, there just 3 homes or 4 houses?
I
and a
believe there
church?
was 4, plus maybe 3 in a church. I don't, because there's a house in between the church and Mrs. Lacy's. It's 3 Mile Ridge, my house, Mrs. Lacy, and that quad, and then the church. So I'm assuming that it would have to get them also.
I've spoken with 3 residences.
Okay.
Just recently received a letter from the Lutheran Church, which we've forwarded on, but I have not had any formal discussion with the church, so I don't know what's been cleaned up, what hasn't. I have no idea.
Okay.
That's all I know. It's 3 plus the church.
Mr. Weldon, can you check with the other property owners?
I can.
Or Mr. Clausen.
Yeah, I certainly can, and I think one of these things, Miss Lacy, correct?
Yes, next to me.
Her son, we can certainly do our due diligence, see what else is out there, but I think somebody's going to, more than likely, they're going to call the utility if they've got a problem, so I think it's probably the 3 plus the church.
Okay.
But we will look into it.
And one last thing I'd like to say, and I'll be quiet. When I made the estimate, and me and my wife, my boys were down there cleaning, and I like this city, and everybody's treated me good, and I'm fair with my estimates. I'm not doing anything, and I guess I would expect the same respect back. And that's all I ask, just to consider that. And thank you for letting me talk. I appreciate that. Thank you.
I would like to apologize on behalf of our insurance agency, and I personally will talk to them.
Well, she might have had a bad day.
I said a couple of bad days. That all we have all on that? Okay. Motion adjourned.
Mr. Mack? Is there nothing else in the business on, I should have been.
I don't
have anything on at all.
I need to apologize. I don't know why she removed you from this. You were certainly on the agenda that I looked at, so you not being on here is a mystery to me. But Terry?
I mean, I won't take,
No, come on up.
I appreciate it.
I usually don't let them do this, but I'll let you do it.
I totally understand.
He was on the agenda. I looked at the agenda, and in fact, I called him when I read the agenda, so why he's not on the agenda tonight, I don't know.
State your name, please.
Terry Larson with Quality Fire Protection. That's what, I think last August through redevelopment and everything, we bought a piece of property over on Industrial Park. Went through, closed, I think September, had our budgets, our rough budget together and everything. Everything is going pretty good. If we could ever get the rain to stop, we could get the building finished up. The one thing I know, we had went through and we'd built our budget for the project and had easements. There was one easement, I think, that was vacated, and the gas company, we got with them and got that taken care of. Made the call to get the electric service put in to the building. And from when we were building the budgets, I think Mr. Davis was still there at that time. I had a meeting with him and put in our budget numbers for what it was going to cost to get electric to the site. And basically, that was a $5,000 figure on my part. Called the electric superintendent, my electrician did, said, hey, we're ready to get this out there. And then the next day, got a call back and said, well, there's things have changed, and now we have to give you an estimate, and now it's going to be $30,000 to get electric to this property.
Oh, my God.
So I've been in contact with Olin, new director, which I understand things have changed and everything else, but we got that back closer, but the last estimate was $17,000 to get electric to the building, which, I mean, I guess what I'm asking for is I don't understand. I understand financially the utilities are strapped and everything, but when we had this all done, it was a done deal. I mean, I had numerous meetings with everybody, and everything was cut and dried, and now things have changed, and I guess I'm just looking. I didn't want any help from the city. That was in my proposals. I didn't want any help from the city at all. We had our budget. It was doable, and now we're looking at a big hit just to bring more business to you as the city. You're going to get tax dollars, you're going to get utility dollars, versus there was nothing there. So I guess I'm just looking for some help to see if there's any way. I mean, Rising Sun, Aurora, every industrial, Greendale, the utilities are there. And for some reason, I mean, everything else is there, but now the electric is a massive jump. So I'm looking for some help, figure out, what's going on.
The $5,000 figure, did somebody give that to you in writing, or?
No, basically that was for me doing my part. From everything I understand, before the city bought the transformer, and basically that was for me doing the excavation and putting the conduit, because they were going to run underground from the credit union on up to my site. So that $5,000 is basically what I had in my budget for me doing the excavation, putting the conduit in, and then from my discussions, the city would pull the wire from the other site up to my site. So that's where I came. I mean, I don't care. My discussion with Olin, I don't care how they do it. I want you to do it as cheap as you can do it. I don't care how you get it there, but I just don't feel that to go from a $5,000 budget number to $17,000 is right. So I don't know if there's an ordinance or if there's, I don't understand how things more than tripled.
Well, first of all, you mentioned these other business parks and the fact they have power there. Yours does not. You don't have power there. And there's a cost for me to extend power to your property. A cost that I'm not willing to subsidize off the backs of the other people in the utility, the other customers. There's a cost to doing business. Bringing the service from the credit union is not feasible. The way that the side hill is, the slope that's there, I will not extend services from that location to your business. So that $5,000 cost that was associated with that is not valid for a few reasons. One of those is what I just cited.
Okay.
To bring power to your property overhead, there's a cost to do that. I have discounted quite a few things, including giving you a span for free to try to make that more doable. But I am not going to take money from the other residents in this community to extend services to anybody. There's a cost to doing business, and I'm sorry that it's burdensome, but that's the way that it is.
And I understand what you're saying, and that is what it is, but, I mean, I don't feel that, I mean, I'm bringing more revenue into the company, or into the city by development here. I mean, I was the only person that was even interested in that property, the only bid. And everything, my budget was already planned out, and I understand that. And like I said, that was what we discussed, is I understand you have a different way that you see what's right and what's wrong, and that's fine. I understand that. And all I'm saying is, we got to be able to get we have to be able to get closer. I mean, there is no business in the world. My electric, for what I need, is minimal compared to any other business that's going to come into the city. I mean, and if you're looking at $50,000 to get a business electric, I don't see anybody coming to Lawrenceburg.
I just drafted an estimate today that is considerably higher than yours.
Right.
Which the business that's building had no issue with. They understand the cost of doing business.
And that was after, that's now. When I bought this property, when we had all the meetings, that was September, October, November. I don't know when, so all I'm saying is, we had this lined out, and I don't know whether it's the utilities. I don't really care. I just feel like that we had this all worked out, and everything was in line, and now all of a sudden to get electric to this site is over 3 times the cost.
Did somebody give you that $5,000 figure, or is that what you come up with?
Well, that was for my 3 days. It was 600 feet, so that's my operator and my backhoe digging 200 feet a day and the conduit cost.
So, I mean, you didn't get a figure from the city of what, estimation from the city of what it would cost?
No, but I was told that that's what, we'll provide the wire, we'll come pull the wire, and we'll set the transformer. And that's what they did for everybody. And so it's not like I'm asking for anything that they didn't do. I mean, that's the way it was.
Even if that price were doable, the $5,000, I cannot serve you from that location. So that's off the table. That's not even part of the discussion.
I agree. That's why I'm saying is, I'm not the electric guy you are. I'm saying, where can we meet in the middle? I mean, to me, this isn't even close. I mean, this isn't even in the ballpark. I mean, like I say, this was nowhere even close in the budget.
Mayor, I have a question.
Go ahead.
Can he take this to redevelopment, and maybe redevelopment could help him with the cost?
You'd like to say something about Mr. Redevelopment Director?
I'd leave it up to the board members. I'd ask the president.
Well, I will speak on behalf of the redevelopment, because one of the questions that I think I did ask was going to ask for any help from the city, I think.
Right.
And it was no. So, I mean, to take it back to redevelopment, I don't, off of that, I don't know.
Well, the whole thing was, what he presented to us, though, in redevelopment was a budget that had this $5,000.
Right.
Obviously, if he knew that it was going to be 6 times that, or.
Well, that's why I was
whatever, 3
asking,
times
though,
it.
of where this budget number come from, if the city give him that estimation of what it would cost, or if he came up with that estimation.
Well, it seems to me, I mean, just from, and correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Larson, but you were given what it would cost to go from one certain point to another certain point.
Correct.
And what I believe Mr. Clausen is saying today is that he can no longer service you from that point.
Did the city give you that cost from the credit union?
That was what we said. We had a meeting. He said, I'm going to come from the credit union and come up here to feed your site.
And that was with who?
That was Mr. Davis.
Okay.
And I said, that's fine. What is my part? He said, this is what you'll need to do. You'll need to install 3, at that time, that was for the 3-phase, which I don't need the three-phase for this building. So that's, there again, that's why I said is whatever's the most economical for everybody. I want, I want to work with, I'm not asking for the world. We've got to get closer.
So you did get that number, that figure from a city representative at the time?
Yes. I mean, that's what they said they were going to do. That's what the plan was. And if that's not the plan of the new, like I said, I don't care how we get it there. Whatever's the cheapest and the best way, I don't care. It's just that now, at that time, like I say, I didn't ask for any help because we had all of our figures, we had our budget built, it was doable, and now that's not the case. So, I mean, everything in our budget has been falling right in line, and now we got this big hiccup. And
Is it something you could wait until the next redevelopment meeting to address, Mr. Larson, or?
yeah, I mean, I've been waiting for a month at this point, so when is the next redevelopment?
That would be the second Monday in May, so that would be the 11th, I believe.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
About 3 weeks or so. Is that
I
right?
mean, at this
3
point,
weeks, but, I mean, I just want to see where you are. I mean, obviously, if you can't do anything over there, and it's been a month already.
we're working off generators right now. I mean, obviously, it's not convenient, but my wife signs checks, and she's not real happy. That's why I'm here, not her.
What's your business called? Quality Fire?
Quality Fire Protection. And I mean, it doesn't matter. I try to work with the city. We take care of the buildings and everything, so when I get a phone call 1 in the morning, I show up 15 minutes later, don't I?
You do a good job.
So,
Vance, you want to put him on your,
I'll put him on the agenda.
thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.
Is that it? Okay, motion adjourned.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Roll call, please.
Member Jane Pope,
Present.
member Aaron Cook,
Here.
member Bill Bruner,
Here.
member Mike Lawrence,
Here.
member J.R. Holcraft is absent. Assistant Police Chief Mike Lanning.
Here.
Deputy Fire Chief Rob Schutte. EMS Director Bobby Mills.
Here.
Attorney Leslie Votaw.
Here.
Utility Director Olin Clausen.
Here.
Mayor Dennis Carr.
Here.
And myself.
Any announcements?
I got 2 announcements, Mayor.
Go ahead.
The first one is the Little League was wondering if they need some kind of permission to let balloons go and honor Lauren Hill at the opening day parade, and I told them I'd bring it before the board. Or can I just do that?
I don't see any problem doing it. Anybody else?
Okay. And the other announcement just kind of arose tonight with the Paul Seymour bringing up the storm drain issue for the properties at Argent Center, a redevelopment project, and Mr. Lurson with his electric hookup at the lot at for quality fire protection, several utility issues involving redevelopment properties, and with the board's approval, I would like to relinquish my position on the redevelopment to Mr. Clausen, if the board approves. So that way we won't run into these issues. We'll prevent them before they happen.
You are the appointed.
From council.
From council.
Yes.
It's up to council. What council will do?
I guess if that's.
Does Mr. Clausen want it?
It is.
You come to most of the meetings.
Did you take it?
It's okay, I'm along for the ride.
You've attended most of the meetings.
Yeah, no,
anyway.
that's fine, that's
Either.
fine.
You put that in the motion?
I'll make a motion to relinquish.
I got one thing. Can we keep them both? Or is there only allowed so many?
They don't
on-
allow so many.
Okay.
Should be an advisory member.
I'll make a motion to relinquish my position and nominate Mr. Olin Clausen to take that position.
Have a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? You just want to get out of doing the meetings, don't you?
And I've been trying to prevent these things before they happen. I've been on it for 3.5 years, but
Yeah, I know.
that prevents some stuff like this from happening.
Mayor, I have an announcement.
Go ahead.
This is our first city council meeting since the passing of Lauren Hill. I'd like to ask for a moment of silence.
Okay. Any more announcements?
Same token, Your Honor, Mike Hall did pass away on Saturday. I would ask for the same.
Same for Mike Hall, yes. He did a lot of work for the city. Okay. Approved minutes previous meeting?
Mayor, I got a question. Page 5 of council minutes, paragraph 4. It reads motion to have foreclosure, but it should say motion to halt foreclosure if we get a written letter from Brian Bischoff stating they will pay all interest up to May 1st, 2015. My question is to Leslie, have we got that in writing?
Yes, I did forward a copy of that to you last week. I believe I received it, would have had to been Wednesday or Friday last week.
I got an email last week.
Okay, I let everybody know my computer shut down on me, so I cannot receive anything by email.
Okay. All right, I will make sure I get something out to you in the mail, but yes, we did receive that last week.
Jane, what did
And
you?
what was the agreement? And there's no corrections to be made.
Okay.
It does say
Other than I didn't spell halt right.
Right.
Yeah.
There you go.
I was just asking the question.
Okay.
Okay. Hold on just a second, Jane, I can pull that up.
Oops, sorry.
Maybe. Can you pull it up?
I got it right.
Aaron's got it.
Thank you.
On the 14th.
I didn't bring my iPad in. It was sent from my iPad.
Can we read it for the public?
I'll try to read it. It says, "Dear City Council members, this letter is to confirm that on behalf of Linkmar Development 11 for the $3 million loan owed to the City of Lawrenceburg, the amount of $185,321 will be paid by May 1st, 2015. This amount represents the back interest owed as calculated by the city, and the city agrees to hold off on any foreclosure suit if the above amount is paid on time. The source of funds is coming from a scheduled closing of a commercial lot that the Linkmar entities is involved in that is scheduled to close by month's end. Thank you for your consideration, Brian Bischoff, member."
Okay.
Now, we had no vote to halt any proceedings on the storage building that was in his personal name.
Mr. Lawrence, I didn't hear you.
There was one property that was in a personal name, the loan, that there was also a motion, the same motion, but that was not halted. That was not part of it.
I know, but
Just to make the board aware.
that's true, but it's not announcements, really, it's the questions. You need to put that on the agenda. But
They're talking,
I don't know.
I hope it wasn't halted.
I don't know.
It wasn't, Leslie, was it?
Yes.
It was?
Because, as far as the Linkmeyer foreclosure, like I said, I guess yeah, it was halted. But that particular one, which is a residential property, would not be something that we would need, Mr. Laker for. That's the commercial property.
Well,
So the
that's,
commercial property was the one that I called
storage
for.
units is not residential property.
They're owned privately by him, is what I meant. It's not this whole Linkmeyer development to Linkmeyer Development Services, all of those. But no, I did not talk to them specifically about halting the foreclosure on the storage units. The storage units were not even brought up.
Can we call for a meeting after May 1st to see if the payment has been paid and where we go?
We can make sure
Do
it's on
from there.
the agenda for our next council meeting.
May the 4th.
It'll be May the 4th.
Anyway.
Bring it up in.
Connie, can you make sure that's on the agenda? She here?
Connie's not back yet. My secretary.
She was here a little,
In the restroom.
she was here a little bit ago.
I'll make the note.
They'll get it on her. All right, let's move forward here.
I'll go ahead and make a motion to approve the minutes.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Committee reports, streets, alleys, and curbs, Aaron Cook.
No report, Mayor.
Finance, J.R. Holcraft's not here. Fire Department, Bill Bruner.
No report.
Police Department,
No report, Mayor.
EMS Director,
Just everyone has a copy of my runs for month of March.
Fire Department.
The state is board of work.
Okay. Building Department, they grow legs or what?
No, the boys are playing games.
Okay. We'll go to new business. Dearborn Community Foundation Youth Grant Committee, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mike Helfenmeyer. I've noticed this evening everybody's wanted something. I want to change that. We want to thank you for what you've already done. You and the council and mayor before you started the Lawrenceburg Youth Foundation, which this past year we granted out $147,743 to the youth organizations in this county, and we have you to thank for that. I would like to thank my fellow committee members, Mike and E.G. McLaughlin, Barb Brannigan, Garrett Kavanaugh, one of those moments, and especially Denise Sedler, who is with the Community Foundation. We started this about 19 years ago, I believe, and our original goal was to save $1 million. To do that, we saved 60% of what was given to us from the boat through the council, and we granted out 40. Once we reached $500,000, we switched that. We started saving 40, granting out 60%. Each year, we give out $150,000. We currently have $1,617,739 in the endowment, and we have $254,471 in our grant money that we hand out. Now, granted, I'm sure you're aware that the money is becoming a little less at the present time. So right now, we offer each nonprofit group in the county up to $10,000. That may have to change in the next couple of years and be reduced to $7,500 or something, because only the federal government can hand out more money than they take in. So obviously, we can't do that.
Good point.
And I talked to China, but they're not interested in making any loans.
They'll print money for you, though.
This past year, the foundation, through the endowment, was $42,539, and every year, the council grants that right back into this program. So again, thank you, and I want to give you all a hand.
Thank you, and what your committee does. You do a lot of good work for us.
Ho, 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 thanks for the dough.
Yes, I think so.
Yes, yes, dear.
Entertain a motion to grant the money back to the committee.
So moved.
It's been second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you. 3 Mile Ridge, dedication 3 Mile Ridge to Lawrenceburg.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm Ken Gosney. I'm on the Board of Directors for 3 Mile Ridge Association, and our committee is here. We'd like to make the following comments and statements and redo our request for the City of Lawrenceburg to take over 3 Mile Ridge Street as it was tabled last week. And I will be reading those comments. 3 Mile Ridge Association hosted a Meet Your Candidate meeting on March 15th, 2015 at our clubhouse in 3 Mile Ridge. Mayor Dennis Carr, Mike Lawrence, and Jane Pope were in attendance with 14 other candidates. Several of them are here tonight. They were all in favor of 3 Mile Street being accepted by the City of Lawrenceburg. They instructed us to get on the agenda for the April 6th City Council meeting and ask the city to take over the street. When we approached that council, it was our first understanding that this was the only time this issue has been addressed at City Council. We know that you've discussed this issue with your advisors, and we would like to know how you are going to make this happen. This is the right thing to do. This decision should be made on the merits of 3 Mile Ridge Street only, not on roads or streets that have or have not been accepted. We have continually maintained 3 Mile Ridge, including sealing when needed. Last repairs and sealing were done in August of 2014. There are no immediate repairs or maintenance that needs to be done. We are very proud to be residents of the City of Lawrenceburg. We are a community of 49 condominium homes with 68 registered voters, with that number growing each year. Our tax dollars and our support for the city over the last 17 years should count for something. We are now asking the City of Lawrenceburg to support us. This is the right thing to do. Thank you for your attention.
Anything on the board?
I'd like to ask Olin, 'cause I'd talked to Olin after the last meeting. He was going to check into about the water line and so on and so forth that goes through there, of who owns it.
We did look into that, Mike, and what we found is, and it's in your packet, back in 2007, 3 Mile Ridge came before the city and asked if the city would be willing to take over the maintenance and operation of the sewer lift station that's there at that property. As indicated by the records of the city, motion was made, a subsequent motion was made, and the city approved to take over the maintenance of that infrastructure. It was contingent upon a road and a easement being granted to the city to be able to get in to maintain those pieces of equipment. To my knowledge, we have never been given an easement. We have been maintaining the pumps, but we've never been given an easement by 3 Mile Ridge to be able to build a road to get down in there to take care of those pumps. Now, there was a little gravel road put in at one time, but in order to get in there and have the right to get in there, we would need a utility easement, something to give us permission so we're not technically in trespass to be able to go in there and do that on a regular basis. The water line under the street going into the property, I don't have any record, could not find any record of the city having any ownership of that water line. We do own the meters, but we don't own any of the infrastructure, and that's not a unique thing. The example I use is up on Horizon Way, where the water's provided by LMS, but we have sewer there. So just because we don't own the pipeline doesn't mean we can't install a meter. And another example I'll use is the apartment complex that I live in. The meters are actually installed inside the apartment, and all the infrastructure is owned by the apartment owner. So it's not a unique or an oddity that the water line is owned by 3 Mile Ridge, and I can't find anything that shows that we own that. I can't find the maintenance agreement for the lift station, but that's it.
If the city was to take over the street, would it need to take over that water line also?
No, not necessarily. They're not mutually exclusive issues.
Our question on that would be, we aren't capable, if that line busts, to guarantee that it won't get contaminated. We've got 49 units in there, people is not going to have water, and there's a health issue here as far as contamination. Who do we contract with to get this done so somebody don't, have a visit in the hospital?
Well, I can't answer that question for you. Those are questions that, in my opinion, should have been asked years ago with the developer, whoever put that in.
Yeah, I understand there was some hard feelings with the city and developer.
And I don't know
17 years
anything-
later, we're still paying for that little argument that they had with the city.
See, and I don't know anything
we've been told
about
twice, I'm sorry, excuse me. We've been told twice by Mel Davis, I guess he's the former city director at one time, twice, not once. But that was taken over, the water line was taken over by the city, along with the sewer, and if there was a problem, they would come in, fix it, and put things back the way they were before they got in there. Now, I have no idea where he got that from. So,
Leslie, did you find any legal reason, I'd asked before, if there's any legal reason that the city cannot?
No, not besides, for one thing, regardless of what you guys, if you guys did a motion tonight, obviously there has to be a public hearing. There has to be, go in front of the Planning Commission and the BZA. Those are the right, channels to go through. Those boards are the ones that would have to approve the variances and the nonconformities. One of the things that I would like to do, and would suggest that City Council also do, is go with Mr. Clark or Mr. Todd and look at the nonconformities to see, for us to be able to accept it, and Mr. Clausen, for us to be able to accept it, to see how many specifications and different things are not within our city spec, as far as a city road. Because I'm not clear on all of them, so that's what my suggestion would be.
And I just want to make sure you understand that I'm just answering your question as to what I'm able to find as an official document.
Certainly, and
I'm not saying that I have an opinion one way or the other,
Right,
but I'm just
right.
telling you what exists, what I can find, and what I
Right.
can't.
I certainly understand that, and that's the reason I wanted to let you know that we have been told twice this. It's nothing that we just came up with. It was specifically told, in that same meeting that I addressed, with 20-some-odd people there that are running as candidates for election, and every one of them was there and heard that statement. So it led us to believe that the city's in control of the water and the sewer there.
I would like to make a motion.
Excuse me, 1 minute. Mel's got his hand up and he's had it up for.
Well, Mel, come on up, Mel. And I'll get you, Mike, in a second.
When I came to work here in 2002, it was explained to me by the mayor at that time, Paul Tremaine, that the city had owned all of the water lines in all of the city, that they had been inspected and accepted by whoever the heck put them in. So that was my impression from '02 forward.
I'll make a motion then.
Wait a minute, Mike, stay here, and we'll get back to you. Mike?
Just a couple quick comments. First, there was not a problem between the developer and the city back when the project was done. It was the developer chose to do a private development instead of dedicate right-of-way and build city spec infrastructure. So there wasn't a problem there. It was just that's the way he chose to go, and that he wanted it that way, and the Property Owners Association, everyone would be charged fees or dues, and that's how they would take care of the maintenance. So there, it wasn't because the city didn't get along with the developer. That was the developer's choice at that time. The only other thing I just want to state, I know and Leslie's schedule has not jived with mine, and we've discussed we need to have a meeting, because I'm not sure how we even do this process because of what it is to bring it in. You know, exactly what are we bringing in, where, how. I think we need to sit down and figure something out, because I'm at a loss right now on what the actual process would be to do this per Indiana State Code.
But I think this street ought to be taken over by the city. I mean, they get all our services and everything else, and they're paying taxes to it. We ought to find out what the process is and move forward with it. It's up to the board. I don't vote, but that's just my feeling on it.
I would like to make a motion now, if I can.
Go ahead.
Can I say something first?
We'll get to you.
I think, I understand, you know, everyone pays taxes and you live up there and you want to be a part of the city, which, you know, I believe you are. You have several of the services. But I think if we're going to do this, I think there needs to be a process, like you're saying, Mike, because, you know, and I know you, in your letter, you stated, don't worry about anyone else, but we have to worry about the past, the future, you know, the present, because if another developer comes in and says he doesn't want to do city specs, does his own thing, does it cheap, he's gonna already know that the city is accepting, you know, without any due diligence, you know, a development such as 3 Mile Ridge or whatever. I just think if we're going to do it, I think we need to do it right and have a process, because this is going to come back in the future.
We do have a process, but, you know, I'm not sure how you put a square peg in a round hole. That's where I think we need some time to sit down with legal counsel, and, you know, I just don't know. On a standard process, yes, I can tell you how to do it. I can walk anyone through it. We have standards and guidelines to follow. I don't know how to do this, and, you know, Les, I'm not sure at this point if you can. I think we're going to have to do some research.
Would you be able to get us a list of all the variances that would be required for the next meeting if this would happen?
I will definitely attempt to do that.
When you say variances, I'm assuming things that would need to be done before you take over the street?
Well, the only thing I'm going to try to do is to point out all the non-compliances with what you've got, and it goes from the design build to the configuration on not just how we do it, but exactly what are we going to accept. It's just a separate animal, and like I say, it's a very good, I said this last meeting, a very good private community design and development. And there again, I still have to say it's not a good public development. But this board, you know, they can choose to accept it or not to. I just don't know how we do it yet.
And we could also look at the PUD ordinance, correct?
See, that really doesn't fit exactly, because PUD has a little bit of flexibility, but that all has to be predetermined, pre-negotiated before it's submitted and passed, and that process in itself is a 9 to 12 month process.
I mean, we'd be dealing with that anyway, right? I mean, if we have to take any of these, you know, as far as variances per se, to Plan Commissioner BZA, obviously those are things that are already in the past. They're not things that, see what I mean? I mean, they would have to basically grandfather them in or grant the variance on the
see,
past.
that's where we really need to sit down and spend some time, because As I stated earlier, I am just
But I
not
did look
sure
at the
how we do it.
PUD. I mean, planned unit development is what that means, if you don't know what that means. And there is an ordinance that we have used for other private developments.
See, there again, the only PUD we have done
Which is
is a private gated community, just like yours. And no, the streets are all private. They are not city,
true.
they're not city streets.
That's
so-
Riviera on top of the hill there.
Basically, that's exactly what it was done, except their development met all the straight line zoning requirements for a private community. But that's what Riviera is, theirs was a little bit different, a little bit more complex. Yours was more streamlined and straight line, where they could meet the standalone zoning codes without going through a whole bunch.
Well, the first thing I want to do is go up there with someone and look at it. Just so I'm a very visual person. I need to see exactly what you're talking about. But there's nothing to say that we can't get that done within the next week sometime.
Find out a way to do it, not tell him how to do it. Now, Mike, goes back to you.
I'd like to make a motion to move forward with acceptance of 3 Mile Ridge Drive and the main water line to be taken over by the city of Lawrenceburg and move forward to the planning and zoning with a favorable.
Got a motion and a second.
Does that add building an easement and a road to the utility?
Well, all the variances and stuff has to go through the planning and zoning, and I figured that there would be a map laid out of exactly the street, what would be dedicated.
The road?
I think there'd need to be a survey.
And they would definitely need to come back to you all.
Back to you all.
Have to easement would be dedicated for the water line.
Now, the other thing is the homeowners association have any money to help with this process? Because there are going to be survey costs. I mean, is that part of your motion, Mike, that we pay for all this?
I think at this point, I think we should do it. They've been taxpayers for 17 years, and I really feel they got a little situation dumped on them by the developer.
If this happens, it'll come back before the board for final approval. With all the exact information.
As far as, the first step, preliminarily saying would be to get us some kind of survey or get the survey documents from
And there again,
HOA.
before they hire that out, I think you and I need to really sit down and figure out this process. I think your motion would be valid for us to move forward with this, but there is a lot of work. Now, I can tell you there is absolutely no way that all this will be done before the next meeting.
I'm not expecting it to be done before the next meeting.
Yeah,
I know it's gonna take some time.
It will take some time, because, like I said, this just doesn't follow the state prescribed process, so.
I would expect probably a couple months is what I've.
And that's very, very possible.
Okay.
Well, and something else too that we need to make sure we're doing is if I'm gonna expend funds, on the utility side, like for the maintenance of the lift station, things like that, it really needs to be done in a proper way. What I mean by that is there's gotta be easements dedicated over, because I can't take and go up there and improve private property with city funds. That's an illegal act on my part. And,
Who in your association should we contact on this? Do you have an attorney that works with you?
Yes, we have an attorney. It's Andrea Ewan.
Okay.
And we've discussed this matter with her. And Mike, to talk a little further on your thing, I wasn't saying that there was a argument between the city and the builder. People have told me that were there originally. A lot of this stuff is going under the bridge, this water, and they say, well, our developer didn't get along with anybody, and he wanted to do it his way, and we understand that. He also told them he was going to put $75 $75,000 to $80,000 in a fund to help us maintain that street. Well, he died and that didn't happen. So that's the situation we've got right now. A lot of hearsay on when it happened, but the fact remains, we've got a street right there with a water main running down, and we don't know how to control that. And we need some help, we need some support.
Well,
And
I've talked with Andy about your water line. If there was an issue there, you need to know that we would be on site to fix that, regardless of the ownership. I mean, that's just a technical aspect of this.
well, I'm glad to hear that, because I was very concerned about that issue.
Yeah, I mean, you're our customers, you know, that's what we're here for, is to serve the customers. Whether or not we own that, that's a technical question. The other question about us coming up there and taking care of you guys and making sure that the services are repaired, we would certainly do that. There's not a scenario that exists that we would just say, that's not our problem, it's all yours. You know, good luck.
As far as the easement to go down to that pump station, that's no problem. I mean, that's minor compared to what we need. I don't know the other things that you need, but we need to get involved in some of the decision-making process. If it's going to come in there and just reroute our whole community and tear out garages and things like this that I've heard in here, this is hearsay, this is not true. We need to readdress those issues.
I will
Can't do
second
this.
the motion.
Come on a second now.
What I would propose that we do would be to come up, start looking at what these sorts of things cost, and try to bound the issue. Try to see what the survey issue is going to cost, see what the road improvement issue is going to cost, get an idea what those costs might be. And the only reason I'd like to do that is I'd like to be able to come back and at least present those numbers to my board, so that when they make a decision on this ultimately, they have all of the information in front of them for which to make a decision on. And so that you guys also will have an understanding of what it is the city's willing to do or not do, and maybe some points of discussion or negotiation that might need to happen to make this a successful endeavor.
Okay, now, Jen, do I hear a second?
Jane did.
Second.
All in favor?
Mike, your motion just to move forward in the process? I was just clarifying his motion to make sure.
Okay, is the motion second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Aye.
Roll call, please.
Oh, just a second. Jane,
Yes.
Aaron,
Yes.
Bill,
No.
Mike.
Yes.
Passes.
Yes.
Okay. Let them look in and see where we go from here. We're starting.
Thank you.
Mayor, I need to ask to be excused. I have a family.
Go ahead, yeah, go on, yeah, go ahead.
I was hoping it'd be done by now.
You talk too much.
Mike.
HJ Unball Association,
We
mentioned
have
table.
motion to table that. They plan to come to the next meeting and explain that ordinance.
Motion to table.
Yes.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Mike Clark, UCB Alley Vacation Plot.
Jackie first.
Wait a minute.
Well, I
Hold
got
on.
Jackie for
Yeah.
that, yeah.
Yeah,
Alley Vacation Ordinance.
yeah, I've got that here. It's ordinance number 4, 2015. An ordinance to vacate a portion of the alley at Eads Parkway between the US 50 access ramp and Front Street. Whereas the Indiana legislature, through Indiana Code, empowers the city of Lawrenceburg to amend zoning maps to control and conform with zoning ordinances on land use within its jurisdictional boundaries, and to provide for the administration, enforcement, and amendment thereof. And whereas the Lawrenceburg Plan Commission has held a public hearing on the petition for vacation of a portion of the alley at Eads Parkway between the US 50 access ramp and Front Street for adoption of an amendment of the zoning maps, a new zoning ordinance, and repeal of all ordinances and maps in conflict therewith. And whereas the Lawrenceburg City Council has given notice of its intention to consider this matter, and whereas the Lawrenceburg City Council has considered the recommendation of the Planning Commission and deem it necessary for the purpose of promoting the health, safety, morals, and general welfare of the city to enact such changes in zoning maps. Now therefore be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Lawrenceburg, Indiana, that the existing zoning maps be amended and the same are hereby repealed and replaced with the following. The following description is what is to be vacated. Vacation, Tract A. Vacating part of an alley situated in the city of Lawrenceburg, Dearborn County, Indiana, described as follows. Bearings in this description are based on the Indiana State Plane Coordinate System East Zone NAD 1983. Beginning at a cross notch at the southeast corner of Lot 57 of said Isaac Dunn's addition to the city of Lawrenceburg, Plat Book 3, page 7, also being the intersection of the west line of subject alley with the north line of Eads Parkway US 50, thence north 17 degrees, 8 feet 55 inches west with the east line of said Lot 57 and Lot 58 of said Isaac Dunn's addition, also being the west line of subject alley, 157.37 feet to a magnetic nail, thence north 72 degrees, 58 feet 13 inches east, crossing subject alley, 8.25 feet to a magnetic nail.
That last notation is minutes, sorry.
I'm sorry, not,
It's minutes and seconds. It's
Oh.
degrees, minutes, and seconds.
Okay,
just so you know.
sorry.
That's okay.
I couldn't remember exactly.
Okay. Just want to make sure.
Yeah,
that's-
I'll make a note here so I read it right. Wait a minute. 8.25 feet to a magnetic nail, thence south 17 degrees, 8 minutes and 55 seconds east with the center line of subject alley, 157.37 feet to a cross notch in said north line of Eads Parkway. Then south 72 degrees, 58 minutes, 13 seconds west with said north line, 8.25 feet to the point of beginning, containing 0.030 acres from the lands of the city of Lawrenceburg. Vacation Tract B. Vacating part of an alley situated in the city of Lawrenceburg, Dearborn County, Indiana, described as follows. Bearings in this description are based on Indiana State Plane Coordinate System East Zone NAD 1983. Beginning at the southwest corner of Lot 36 of Isaac Dunn's addition to the city of Lawrenceburg, Plat Book 3, page 7, also being the intersection of the east line of subject alley with the north line of Eads Parkway, US 50, then south 72 degrees, 58 minutes, 13 seconds west with said north line, 8.25 feet to a cross notch, thence north 17 degrees, 8 minutes, 55 seconds west with the center line of subject alley, 157.37 feet to a magnetic nail, thence north 72 degrees, 58 minutes, 13 seconds east across subject alley, 8.25 feet to a magnetic nail, thence, I think I probably just skipped 17 degrees, 8 minutes, 55 seconds east with the west line of lots 35 and 36 of said Isaac Dunn's addition, also being the east line of subject alley, 157.37 feet to the point of beginning, containing 0.030 acres from the lands of the city of Lawrenceburg, passed by the common council.
Hold on. So that reference should be thence with the 17 degrees.
Yeah.
It should be south.
South, I forgot, okay.
South, 17 degrees.
Okay.
Sorry, just.
That's okay. I knew it wasn't right because everything else had a directional thing. Passed by the Common Council of the City of Lawrenceburg, Indiana, this 20th day of May, 2015.
Motion approved, first reading, ordinance number 4, 2015.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
That was Bill, and Aaron.
Yeah. Motion to suspend the rules, read ordinance number
4,
2015, by title only, second time.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Ordinance 4, 2015, an ordinance to vacate a portion of the alley at Eads Parkway between the US 50 access ramp and Front Street.
Okay, motion to approve ordinance number 4, 2015, second reading by title only.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion to suspend the rules, read ordinance number 4, 2015, by title only for third and final reading.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Ordinance 4, 2015, an ordinance to vacate a portion of the alley at Eads Parkway between the US 50 access ramp and Front Street.
Motion to approve ordinance number 4, 2015, for third and final reading.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Here, sorry. I put in on the degree mark, so you can take this one, Jackie. Here,
Oh,
you can just take that one. I put all the degree
okay,
marks that were in
that's
there.
what I was doing while I was reading. Okay,
That's the original. You can go ahead.
let's see.
Mike Clark, UCB Alley vacation plot.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor. In your packet, you have a copy of the proposed vacation plat that goes along with the ordinance that was just approved, and I need
You need this back, Leslie.
for this board
I keep
to
that.
certify and approve this vacation plat.
Anything on the board? Motion.
So moved.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Toby Fry, Transportation Company license.
Hello, everyone. My name's Toby Fry, and I'm the owner of Genesis Transportation in Mooresville.
What was, I'm
And
sorry, what was the name again?
What do you want?
Toby Fry.
Oh, no, but the name of the company.
Genesis Transportation
Okay,
Company.
thank you.
Thank you. I'm located in Mooresville, and I'm presently working with the state of Indiana and trying to become a Medicaid provider, transportation provider. And I need to get a license from the city here in order to pick up Medicaid patients. I also be dealing with business community. I'm not a taxi, I'm a car service. I don't know if any of you have ever dealt with a car service before, but we're on you have to have a 24-hour call ahead appointment, and that's how this is going to operate. I know that there's 2 taxi companies here, but I will have nothing to do with taking any business away from them. Neither one of them do Medicaid. The only company in Dearborn County at this present time that does Medicaid is Catch a Ride, and they're state funded. And from what I understand, right now I'm working with vocational rehabilitation, trying to get back to work. I've been out of work for 7 years. I drove a taxi in Cincinnati for 19 years. I've lived in Dearborn County for 30 years. From what I understand, Medicaid can't wait for me to go into business because Dearborn and Ripley County is not served very well at all. There's only one company that I know of. It's even dealing with Ripley and Dearborn County, and that's Classic Medicab out of Greensburg. They come all the way down here and pick up the people that live in these areas and take them to doctor's offices, hospitals and such. The only other thing I'm going to do cash-wise is business professionals, and they also have to call 24 hours ahead of time. So, you know, if there's a hotel, serving the hotels, if they have a customer that's going to the airport the next day, they have to call me 24 hours ahead of time. So what I'm here for is to get a license in order to do that in this city.
We reviewed this, and the only thing that I knew about, I didn't know about the Medicaid. That wasn't explained to me. I didn't know that. I did know about the last thing you spoke of, which was, you know, to me, and this is my opinion, the business license would still, the taxi, and our taxi ordinance should, it's needed to be amended for years. But there are certain things that they must meet, which includes, you know, general things like insurance, you know, things. But in order to be able to pick up someone from Lawrenceburg, and I don't know whether that, it doesn't delineate whether that's Medicaid or your business people.
Right.
If you come and pick someone up, you need a business license to pick them up from Lawrenceburg. That's my understanding, that's your understanding.
From what I understand, if your office is not in Lawrenceburg, you don't need a business license. If you live in the county, like I do, the only thing you need is a taxi license, as you guys use, because you guys, as far as I know, that's the only thing you guys use for transportation is a taxi license. And I'm not a taxi, but, you know, if that's what you gotta do, that's what you gotta do.
It's been a while since I've reviewed our ordinance, but I do know that anyone, and that's how it's been since I've worked here.
Yeah.
Anyone who wants to have a taxi
Or a service of some.
has to go through council, has to get council approval. Now, that is correct about the business license itself, but that could be a hair salon, that could be, you know, any number of things. And they do reside, or their business, not reside, but their business has to be in Lawrenceburg.
But specifically, our ordinance does say that if you pick up people in Lawrenceburg,
For that particular
whether you
service.
are from Timbuktu, you come here and pick up people from Lawrenceburg and transport them out of Lawrenceburg, or within Lawrenceburg, because, I mean, you could come take someone that lives down the street and take them down to.
Take them to the hospital.
Right, or
Yeah, I know.
or down to Partners Health that's right in Lawrenceburg,
Right,
correct?
right.
That's where the license needs to happen. Now, if our board needs to revise our taxi ordinance to include these type of entities, that would be my suggestion, but, what this entity falls under right now would be, you know, I just don't see, I mean, how much is the business license?
It's a $15, I think we've talked about that.
Well,
It's a $15 criminal check that we do, it's a background check that we do on anyone that opens up a business. And then it's a one-time fee of $50.
Right.
Well,
But that-
you don't have any problems with that, right?
No, I don't have any problems with that.
Now,
It's just-
taxis have a whole different ballgame in terms of, you know, what they get charged. On a yearly basis, it's still minimal, unless that gets changed.
Right. Which I do think we need to address the taxi ordinance sooner rather than later, because it just doesn't make any sense anymore. It doesn't.
So Leslie, is he required just a business license?
Yes.
He hasn't
Because
re-
we don't have any classification under our ordinance right now that covers
What he
the
does.
services that he's doing. But the one thing that I saw in the taxi ordinance was, you know, if you do pick up, then you need a
But
business.
he's not required at this point to have a taxi license to,
Not a taxi license, it would just be a business license.
That's fine, you know. Whatever I need to be able to do the job.
In order for me to proceed, I need council's approval.
I don't have a problem with granting in that, but I'm just saying, we need to revise our ordinance so it brings in, you know,
Yeah.
it takes these
We can do
types
that in
of
the future.
entities in the future.
Just be every year. Okay, anything on board?
Carl has something, Mayor.
Carl, got something?
Yes, me and Mr. Lanning over there have been since the beginning of the year going over our out-of-date ordinance on taxes and the requirements and different things. The types of inspections, who would be inspecting the vehicles, the insurance, the stickers, everything. As it is right now, if it gets to that point where we could revise it, this here section could be put in there, separate, and do it all at once. We've got quite a few ideas together on it.
Because I think, and I don't think you'd be objectionable, it would not be objectionable to you. I mean, we just want to make sure if you're traveling and taking Lawrenceburg residents places, wherever you're going, we want to make sure that, you know, you got the car that you're using is,
Right.
you know,
And
safe, you know, and that type of thing. And that's the whole purpose of the
Yeah. In my business plan, I provide for any vehicle that comes into my business has to have a mechanical check. And then every time they service their vehicle, it has to be checked. And then every 6 months after they start, it has to be checked thoroughly. That's part of my business plan, and that's part of the state want, and you have to have $1.5 million worth of insurance to operate anyway.
Okay.
So it's all pretty well covered.
Okay.
You know, I mean, you could put that in there because it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, we don't have that
You know.
per se in ours right now.
Okay.
We have a visual inspection by the police department or myself.
Right.
Yeah, like I said, any vehicle that comes, because I'm going to be hiring independent contractors. and they're going to bring their own vehicle into the business. So when it comes in, it will be thoroughly checked, and they will be checked too by doing a drug check, a state police check, a BMV check. It's all pretty covered because Medicaid requires all that.
Now, as far as your business plan, have you provided a copy of that to us?
No, I didn't bring that with me. I didn't think I was going to need to, but I can.
Well, I mean,
can get you one.
Well, I think it's something that we should have a copy of in our files, just to
Okay.
say, 10 years from now.
Yeah, it's no problem.
Yeah,
I can,
So they can look
I can fax you a copy if you'd like.
that would be great.
Mike Morrow, you got something?
Yeah, just after listening to him, and they're getting the city business license, I can understand he's gonna have the background check done, get the business license. Now, if he's gonna hire independent contractors, it would be my understanding that each one of those independent contractors would need to follow suit and do the same thing.
And that's what he's saying is in his business plan, that he would require a drug test and also a background check.
But they would have to have.
Yeah, but they would need to have a city business license.
Basically, what they gotta have
Contractor?
is the company has to have the business license, the driver has to have a chauffeur's license. So that's covering.
But there again, if you're hiring independent contractors, I'd say there's a good possibility that the driver and the contractor are gonna very likely be the same, won't they?
I'll have to look into that. Because that's how I understand most taxi cab services work. I mean, I know we're not talking about a taxi cab, but normally they are independent contractors and they don't work as an employee of the taxi cab.
Well, I don't know about how they work here, the companies, how they work, but in Cincinnati, every cab driver there is an independent contractor.
Well, and there again, we're not Cincinnati,
Well, right, I know.
And
I know.
that was my only comment, is because we have the business license requirement to make sure we protect the citizens and residents of Lawrenceburg.
Right, they should be covered under the business.
That's how we know if they're not gonna be a direct employee of his, that we're getting reputable people.
Well, see, how it's going to work with an independent contractor who owns his vehicle is their title of their car is going to say so-and-so doing business as Genesis Transportation. So they'll be under our umbrella. They have to follow all our rules or else they can't drive for us.
Well, and maybe that's part of the stipulation that this board could put on, because this is a new bird, this is something we haven't addressed before. I mean, that's something we could address in a revision of our ordinance as well, but you can make it contingent, any new drivers that he might get would have to come in front, be approved, or approved under the new ordinance that we pass.
Do you think we should, let you do some work on this, or do you think?
Well, it's gonna be redone,
Right, but I'm
to pay
saying-
more.
But I was gonna ask Leslie, could I do two motions, go ahead and award him his business license?
Wait a minute, Mario has something first, we did a motion. We did okay. And, Bill, you got something?
I'm good.
Okay, now James?
Are you sure?
Yes, I think
Let's
we
finish up
can
this
award
talk.
the business license. And as far as the stipulations, if there's on the subcontractor or the independent contractor issue, if there are any other drivers besides what you're presenting to us today.
Right now, it's just me.
Okay.
And the reason I'm
I would
here.
ask for a copy of his business plan, so we have a copy of that for our file at the clerk's office. And then I would ask that and you're kind of our guinea pig, but if you could come back to us and let us know when that happens.
What's that again?
As far as, your independent contractors and confirm, show us proof. They're under your insurance. They passed this test.
Sure, I don't have any problem doing that.
Would you like me to do a provisional? I mean, we've done a yearly provisional before.
I think that's a good.
And they have to come back to us and show proof of a few things. Just something to consider.
It could be.
The same price?
We hadn't discussed that, I'm assuming yes. That's the one
Would it
that
be
you
the same
told me.
price every year?
That's the one that you told me.
Yeah.
So change
I mean, that's up to the board. Do you understand what she's saying?
I understand what she's saying.
There's a provisional one.
And my
you can-
second motion was gonna be to update the taxi ordinance to include guidelines for his situation.
How soon are you wanting to get up and moving, I guess, is my question to you.
Well, I'm in the process of getting my Indiana DOT number.
Okay.
I'm in the process, the whole thing's in a process.
Okay, so, I mean, if we,
I have to
we were to
have-
bring an ordinance back within 30 days,
Well,
like,
see, the thing is, I have to have a license of some sort to give to Medicaid enrollment
okay.
so that they will okay me.
Okay.
So I have to have that as
And I
soon
know
as
you
possible.
contacted me. He contacted me about 30 days ago,
Yeah,
so,
it's been a big process. This is an ongoing process for 3 years, but it's getting that close now that I have to have that. I have to go to Greendale and see about them. I have to go to Aurora and see about that. Those 3 cities, yours and those other 2 are the only ones I have to get a license for. Nobody else in the Ripley and Dearborn County even deals with taxi licenses, so. Yeah, I have to have that before they'll even consider me.
I'd like to put a motion out on the board to award Transportation Company LLG Genesis a business license to be,
it's LLC, LLC.
oh, LLC. Genesis to be awarded a business license with you following up with your business plan. And what else do you require, Leslie? And all subcontractors?
Yes, any independent contractors, he would need to get approved. And if at that time we have a process that through our ordinance, we can grandfather him in. If you want to just do a provisional until we get the ordinance passed, that might be a good thing. And like I said, because he's our guinea pig, you could waive the fee if it's renewed, after that year. There's lots of options. If you want to go ahead and just do the business license, that's forever, until it's revoked for some reason. And there are certain procedures in our ordinance to revoke a business license, so that has nothing to do with the taxi cab ordinance, so.
What's your suggestion?
I think that as long as he gives us a copy of his business plan, and he comes to us when he gets those independent contractors to work to him, he.
Okay, award you your license, copy of your business plan, come to us when you get your individual contractors. That's my motion.
Before I vote, I need 2 things. One is, why are we awarding the business license? Why can't it go through the regular channels? We haven't done it in 3.5 years.
They're approved.
Only because
They
it
meet all
was the
requirements.
question of, is it a taxi? That was the only
The
reason.
same requirements that
And
I-
if you're not gonna declare it a taxi, then we don't.
Yeah, there's no
need to
point in
go
it.
through that.
The taxi ordinance requires it, that council approves it. That's why we suggested it, go ahead and the issue be brought up. to you guys.
All right, that's my only question.
I think Mr. Davis.
We don't need the motion?
The motion's made, Mr. Davis has something.
Okay.
Are we done?
Hold on just a second.
Sorry, John Davis. I used to write special delivery coverage in Cincinnati, and what he's described here is livery, not taxi. So if you do take the time to rewrite the ordinance, you need to define the difference between the taxi and livery. And livery is a lot safer. You're getting 24-hour notice. You schedule a plan. It's not like a taxi, which is an on-call kind of service, because then you're rushing to get to somebody, rushing to get to someplace else. This is not what he's doing, and you want to prevent. No offense. Prevent them from turning from livery to taxi.
Okay.
Because even the liability risk on those things are much more challenging, and when it comes to getting insurance, they're going to be looking to see exactly what kind of service he's providing. And here he's providing a much more simplified process, 24-hour notice, it's scheduled, it's safer, it's a whole different things. Taxi cabs, that's a whole different thing. You got meters, you got all kind of things that are going on there, different licensing required, different training required. The problem also with in his case, chauffeurs typically can get a chauffeur's license, which you should have another license for that too. But secondarily, the chauffeurs typically don't have any good training. I used to work with a gentleman, we had an insurance agent up in North Avondale, and he had the only chauffeur training that I know that was in existence, because the chauffeurs really have a big responsibility when they're hauling folks around. So really what it is just another driver, unless you give them some kind of specialty training, and hopefully your drivers will be able to go through that. But again, if you're going to rewrite this, I would go the extra step and make sure you define between taxi and livery, because Lawrenceburg's probably going to be getting more of those type services down here as we start getting bigger, so that's all.
Maybe you guys should partner up hit it double speed.
All right, Jane's got a motion. Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it.
Okay. One thing I want to tell you, there's this company, it's all over the place now, called Uber. You need to be careful with that.
Yeah.
Here's
lot of
a
liability.
copy of my card.
in DC.
It's got my fax,
Great
it's got my
service,
fax
too, I
number
like
and also my email, if you want to send a business plan to me. Thank you.
And I guess you'll get your license through Suzanne, is that how that works?
Yes. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Leslie, resolution number 3, 2015, expansion of economic development area.
Just to give you a little idea, this is the last process that we've had to do. The redevelopment did pass a amendatory resolution, which was basically confirming their first declaratory resolution to expand the downtown entertainment district economic development area. This is the final step, and this is just approving what the Lawrenceburg Redevelopment Commission adopted, and that's attached on April 13th of 2015. Does anybody have any questions? Go ahead and read resolution number 3, 2015. Resolution of the Lawrenceburg Common Council regarding approval of expansion of economic development area. Whereas the Lawrenceburg City Redevelopment Commission did on March 9th of 2015 adopt an amending declaratory resolution expanding its downtown entertainment district economic development area by adding certain real property to the area as set forth therein, as confirmed by its amending confirmatory resolution adopted on April 13, 2015, following a public hearing, collectively amendatory resolution. Whereas Indiana Code 36-7-1441 subsection C requires that any expansion of the boundaries of an economic development area be approved by the Common Council of the city. And whereas the Common Council has reviewed the amendatory resolution and previously approved the written order of the Lawrenceburg Plan Commission regarding the amendatory resolution. Now therefore be it resolved by the Common Council of the City of Lawrenceburg, Indiana, that 1, this Common Council hereby finds and determines that it will be in the best interest of the city to expand the boundaries of the area. 2, the expansion of the area as described in the amendatory resolution is hereby approved. 3, this resolution shall be effective from and after passage and approval by the mayor. Passed by the Common Council of the City of Lawrenceburg, Dearborn County, Indiana, this 20th day of April, 2015.
Entertain a motion?
So moved.
Second?
The record.
All in favor?
Aye.
I mean,
Opposed?
same
Ayes have it.
Let's go ahead and get this signed while we have it, Mayor, if you don't mind. Well, we're going to note that you're approving this, is that correct? Okay.
Got questions on that before I can sign it?
You're lucky I'm signing this. I was gonna make you wait.
Jackie,
So
oh, you want me to
those two
fill
are
in?
approving these
I
two
can't fill it
plats,
in.
right?
Okay, I definitely need
By
a copy.
Clark, Lawrenceburg Downtown
Oh, that
Entertainment District.
I'll
Economic
note which
Development.
ones I need from you. I'll make copies.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor. We have, in fact, I know you've got me listed down here 2 times in a row. I've got copies of 2 record plats that I need this board to certify so we can get them recorded and make it official and over. The first one is the plat for the Lawrenceburg Downtown Entertainment District Economic Development Area, which this is the parent tract or district that the riverfront development area has to reside in. The same parent tract that the TIF district has to reside in. So if you would, this is the first one we need approved. And there again, it goes right along with the resolution that was just passed. I would ask this board to go ahead and certify and approve this plat for recording.
Anything on the board? Entertain a motion.
Motion to approve the plat, the entertainment, downtown entertainment district plat.
There's a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, Your Honor, we have another plat. This is the record plat for the Lawrenceburg Riverfront Development Area, which, for most of you that have been involved, we originally kind of called this the Downtown Entertainment District, but this is the official name that our attorney said we needed to use. And we, again, need to get this certified so we can get it recorded, and this is the last step in this long process.
I got a question. That district stops at the river, at the levee.
Yes.
So what you told us before, it's not going beyond the levee.
It goes to the center line of the levee.
Center line of the levee.
Yes.
Okay.
And there are reasons why, per statute, that we held
Why
it
do
there.
they have to call it riverfront then?
Because it has to fall under a certain category, and that's what our attorneys told us. It needed to be labeled as that to meet the Indiana State Code.
But it does stop at the middle of the levee.
Yes.
And that, the code they're referring to is the one that the Downtown Planning Committee, what do you call it? Sorry, is that right? Yeah, the Downtown Partnership Committee.
Right.
It's under Title VII. That's why, and we wanted to make it different because originally when the event center was, when that development area was established, they used Downtown Entertainment District. So we wanted to make sure it was different.
So we got our
words.
downtown entertainment district within the riverfront district.
Other way around.
Yeah.
There's a
Other way
downtown
around.
entertainment district, and within that is the riverfront development area where the people can get their $100 liquor licenses and all that under that statute.
Okay, entertain a motion?
So moved to accept.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Lastly, resolution number 4, 2015, interlocal between City of Greendale and the City of Aurora.
I did put in resolution number 4, which is just to enter into the interlocal agreement that is attached. It's for the quantitative fit testing machine for the respective fire departments to share the use, the benefit, and then also share the cost. Greendale and Aurora have both already passed it, as you can see by their signatures, and Greendale's actually already paid their portion, so we're just asking that you guys approve it so that we can enter into the interlocal agreement as well. Resolution number 4, 2015, a resolution regarding the enter into an interlocal agreement with the City of Greendale and the City of Aurora to share the cost of a quantitative fit testing machine for the parties' fire departments for their mutual use and benefit. Whereas the City of Lawrenceburg desires to enter into an interlocal agreement with the City of Aurora and the City of Greendale to share the cost of a quantitative fit testing machine for the fire departments of Lawrenceburg, Aurora, and Greendale. And whereas the Greendale City Council and the Aurora City Council has already resolved to enter into said agreement, and the monies are available for Lawrenceburg's share. Now therefore be it resolved by the Common Council of the City of Lawrenceburg, Dearborn County, Indiana, that the City of Lawrenceburg enter into an interlocal agreement with the City of Aurora and the City of Greendale to share the cost and use of a quantitative fit testing machine for the mutual benefit of all 3 fire departments. Passed by the Common Council of the City of Lawrenceburg, Dearborn County, Indiana, this 20th day of April, 2015.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
And I have the original, if you all could sign the original interlocal as well, that would be great. Sorry. Oh, well, yeah, hold on. Do the resolution first, sorry. There we go. Thank you.
Okay.
Go ahead and put the date in since everyone else has agreed.
Another resolution, number 5, 2015, Hollywood tax abatement.
Okay. Correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Hughes, I was not at the redevelopment meeting. This all did go through the redevelopment, that's correct. And the scheme that they approved was what we could have, under the 2011 agreement, correct? The tax abatement would be 100%, 66%, and 33%.
That is correct.
And this would be concerning the TIF area, the allocation area that was established when the event center was built.
That's correct.
Thank you.
While we're talking about TIF grant, the report was done and turned in before I left work today.
Okay,
Okay?
thank you.
I'm sorry. Still on this, if you could sign there, please. Give all of it for Jackie to attest. All right, Resolution 5, 2015. It's a resolution of Common Council of Lawrenceburg, Dearborn County, Indiana, request for adoption of waiver pursuant to Indiana Codes 6, 1.1, 12.1, 5.8. Whereas Indiana Code 6, 1.1, 12.1 allows an abatement of property taxes attributable to the development or rehabilitation of real property, and installation of new manufacturing equipment, new research and development equipment, new logistical distribution equipment, and new information technology equipment in economic revitalization areas. Whereas the Common Council of the City of Lawrenceburg, Indiana, did on the 23rd day of August 2011 adopt a declaratory resolution number 10, 2011, designating certain real property, it's called the declaratory resolution, located in the city and set forth in the declaratory resolution as an economic revitalization area, an economic development target area under and pursuant to Indiana Code 6, 1.1, 12.1, collectively ERA, which declaratory resolution was confirmed by confirmatory resolution number 13, 2011, adopted following a public hearing on October 3rd, 2011. Whereas the Common Council has reviewed and informed itself about the real property, both generally and specifically described in Exhibit A to this resolution, the real estate attached here to made a part hereof. Whereas the real estate is located within the ERA and thus within the jurisdiction of the Common Council for purposes set forth in Indiana Code 6-1.1-12.1-2. Whereas the Common Council has previously found that the development and improvement of the real estate would benefit and promote the welfare of all citizens and taxpayers of Dearborn County, Indiana. Whereas the allowance of deduction from assessed value of improvements now built and installed on the real estate was a contributing factor for the construction of the Lawrenceburg Event Center project, which has improved the real estate and will encourage future development in the downtown area. Whereas Penn National Gaming, the company, is the owner of the project, has incurred debt in excess of $14 million for the development of the project in the real estate. Whereas Indiana Code 6, 1.1, 12.1, 5.8 authorizes the Common Council to waive the requirement to file a statement of benefits if the company, in the 36 months preceding the first assessment date for which the waiver would apply, developed property at a cost of at least $10 million. Whereas, for informational purposes, the company has provided a statement of benefits to the Common Council herewith describing the finished project to be situated on the real estate herein after referred to collectively as the statement of benefits, a copy of which is attached here to and made a part hereof. Whereas Common Council has reviewed and considered the statement of benefits, whereas the company is requesting pursuant to Indiana Code 6, 1.1, 12.1, 5.8, that the Common Council waive the requirement that a completed statement of benefits form be submitted to the designated body before the improvements to the real estate. Now therefore be it resolved by the Common Council of the City of Lawrenceburg, Dearborn County, Indiana, that one, affirmation of the economic revitalization area, the real estate is contained within the previously declared ERA established by this Common Council. Two, real estate improvement deductions. Deductions from the assessed value of the improvements to the real estate, namely the project, in the economic revitalization area affirmed above, shall be allowed over a 3-year deduction period with a 100% deduction in the first year, a 66% deduction in the second year, and a 33% deduction in the third and final year. Approval of statement of benefits. The statement of benefits should be and is hereby approved. Number 4, findings of fact. For the statement of benefits and the improvements to the real estate, the Common Council makes the following findings of fact pursuant to Indiana Code 6, 1.1, 12.1, 4.5C. A, the estimate of the cost of the project in the real estate is reasonable for the type of improvement. B, the estimate of the number of individuals who will be or are employed or whose employment will be retained can be reasonably expected to result from the project. C, the estimate of the annual salaries of those individuals who will be, are employed, or whose employment will be retained can reasonably be expected to result from the project. And D, other benefits from which information was requested are benefits that can be reasonably expected to result from the project. And E, the totality of benefits is sufficient to justify the deduction. 5, waiver. The company's request for adoption of the waiver pursuant to Indiana Code 6:1.1, 12.1, 5.8 is hereby approved. Be it finally resolved by the Common Council that if any part, clause, or portion of this resolution should be adjudged invalid or unconstitutional, such invalidity or unconstitutionality shall not affect the validity or constitutionality of this resolution as a whole or any other part, clause, or portion of this resolution. Adopted this 20th day of April 2015 by the Common Council of the City of Lawrenceburg, Dearborn County, Indiana.
Anything on the board? Entertain a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it.
Time is at 9 o'clock.
A couple minutes.
Leslie, is Hollywood going to get with the county on what they have to give them?
I'm sorry?
Is Hollywood going to get with the county? Because you usually have to do a
Yes.
statement of benefits.
Yes.
Okay, that's good.
Mario, 138 Belby Road. Pick up or what?
In your packets, the information requested from last meeting, I believe it was 2 meetings ago, about the concrete spalling. On the second page in, you'll see the replacement price of that particular area, $3,500. Third page in is the testing price of $3,700. If you go to the back sheet, you'll see a report that was generated back March of last year. That has photos and also determines that it was salt that caused the damage.
In their opinion.
Yes. And if you don't believe their opinion, the pricing would be $3,700 to have it tested. Or replaced at $3,500.
From the pictures I've seen, that's a mess. There's no way I would accept that. If that was my concrete that was poured, I would be demanding that it be replaced, and that's only going by the pictures you showed me.
Correct.
At the back of this.
As you see, the photos were taken just in one area. And I don't know, did you read the report?
Yeah, I read the report, but that's just their opinion. And I also read the report where it's not level in places where it will hold water, where water would get down under the concrete and cause the concrete to expand. So that to me, you just can't blame that on a car parking up there with salt on it.
You're wrong.
The way the pictures reveal itself.
Well, again, I can just go by the report. I mean, the slab's still in if you like to take.
And that's only one person's opinion, too.
Correct. Well, actually, it's from the concrete company, the testing firm, and the contractor.
But do you see how the joints have even expanded and how it's just a mess?
Oh, it's a mess, I'll grant
It's
you that.
total mess in several areas.
Again, the information that you requested.
When was this done? Do you know when the original work was done?
I believe it's in the report. It's a year out of warranty.
So it's over the 1-year warranty.
Correct.
Yeah, but how long have they been complaining, though?
Summer 2012?
I believe he complained about a month after the warranty was up. Was the first complaint. We have it noted down.
That scaling, that's salt. You can tell it is.
Well, and I would have to agree with the statements of Mr. Seymour at our meeting when this came up.
Mr. Seymour, would you like to review these pictures?
I mean, I just think Mr. Seymour, his whole comment was, you're going to open up a can of worms. If you're going past the warranty period, then...
Next stop, your house, Paul?
I mean, everyone will be lining up. That's
But
my
what's
opinion.
right is right. I mean, this should have been taken care of, and how do I know for sure that complaint wasn't turned in a month after the warranty?
Well, we have when he
If-
called,
do
Jane,
we
we
have
have records. We have records when he called in.
Have documentation to prove that
Yes.
to me?
Yes. Yes.
You want to look at it, Paul?
My opinion.
Hey, you can't guarantee stuff forever. You've got awful good concrete people in this area, and none of them would guarantee something like that.
Well, I had a good concrete person, and it's been since 2007, and I haven't had one problem. Not one problem.
That's good. I poured a lot of concrete, just most anybody in this room.
Well, if
You
concrete
guarantee them for a
lasted,
year, and that's it.
concrete lasted forever, concrete companies would be out of business.
Exactly. And salt,
Well, you
can't do
guys
anything
see
about it.
my concrete. It's in excellent condition.
You don't drive or park on your pad in the back either.
The salt doesn't drip off the car.
They walk down that.
My husband pulls our vehicles around back to our driveway so the city can come down to the curb. So don't say we don't pull them around there after they've had salt on them, because we do. He does. I don't. And there's not one thing wrong with my driveway.
Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, just one thing on this too, and it was put in per the property owner's specs. He knew it was gonna be a flat area. Now, it does still fall and drain, but it's flat, so it's very slow moving. When we went up there the first time and discussed this, it was determined by the geotechnical engineering firm what was causing the problem. The owner was advised, if you're going to continue to pull up there in the winter where salt can drip off, either go out, hose it off, or, at least get out there, clean it up good, and treat it with some water seal or like compound twice a year to help that situation. And there again, I don't believe any of that was done.
Jane, I agree with you. It's a mess. And again, we at this table didn't pour the concrete, nor did we produce it. We're just dealing with facts, and this is the only facts we have.
Well, I make a motion that we table this subject till there's more council members present to review it.
You got a majority.
I just think if we're gonna do this, we might want to reappropriate some money, because they'll be coming. I mean, it's just the way it is. And you guys, I'm sure you can attest to that.
You gotta put a stop to it, so you can't wait 10 years to come back and repair somebody's concrete.
I mean, I can double check the records, but I believe it was after the warranty.
Has he paid for all this work?
Please?
Has he paid for everything?
No, I think it's 12,000 still outstanding. No. Yeah, I think he's on hold.
I'm sorry, what's this individual's name? You put it down as an address. What's his name?
Mingus, isn't it?
Jason Mangus.
Thank you. Note to self.
You've got a motion on the floor, dear.
Got a motion, Gene, let's take, well, we got a majority here. Here a second.
Got a quorum.
Guys like a second. Now, what's the board want to do? Sooner or later, you're gonna have to put a stop to this. Really, this ought to go to Board of Works. But, you're gonna have to put a stop to this.
We should have
Most
never
companies-
done it.
Excuse me, Jane, I'm talking. Most companies want to guarantee a year. Guys, I mean, we can't keep saying 2 or 3 years, we're gonna come back and repair this, especially with all the salt and everything comes off cars. You're gonna have to put a stop to this program.
Which we did in 2012.
But guaranteed after a year, I mean, you're gonna have to stop this. I mean, it's, actually, this should've went to Board of Works.
Well, it was old business, Your Honor. I think it was
Yeah.
brought up in council.
Well,
Wasn't it, James?
Yes, it
I
was.
think Mike brought it up.
that's who should make a decision on this. But go ahead, I mean, what's the board wanna do?
I just think, again, I think if council's gonna do it, then we need to appropriate a good chunk of money
It's gonna come out of the woodwork. Mine's doing the same thing, but I put,
Or-
you know,
Or I'll vote to do it.
I use calcium chloride, which I shouldn't use all the time, but I do. And I'm not grinding right. Get in motion?
Do what?
Put that in motion.
What's that?
Are you gonna put that in motion, or are you just not doing any motion?
I mean, what do you think, Aaron?
Yeah, I agree, but I don't think it's being motion or anything.
I think it just go on.
Drive on.
Go on.
There was no motion to table, that means it's not tabled, and he's not making any motion at this time.
Dies?
Yeah, there is no motion to die.
Okay.
We need to approve those other minutes?
That's Board of Works.
No.
Where it should go. Okay.
Comments from the audience, I guess.
So can it be brought back up under old business?
Well, actually, it should go to Board of Works where it should go.
Council's the one that made the decision whether to continue the concrete program or not, and council was the one that made the decision to stop the concrete
But the Board of
program.
Works is the controlling board on buildings.
Mayor, that's the thing, was it last year, the year before, there was a motion to Mr. Gherkin on Clinic Drive. There was, I don't know what was done, but I wasn't in favor of it, but I know there was some stuff done up there. Not
What happened with
particularly sure
his
what it
case
was.
is that, what happened in his case, he had two separate bills. He paid one bill in full. The other case, there was a small claims that was filed on it. We dismissed that without prejudice, due to the problems, and that was by your all's vote to do so. So, we haven't filed a suit against Mr. Mingus. I don't know that he's behind. His name has not been brought to my attention, but that's why I wanted to get his name.
Oh, he may not be behind. It may be a hold till this is resolved.
Now, the only other thing you could do, and this is, you don't have to vote on this tonight, but you could give me the authority to work with them and come up with a settlement amount as well. And within any type of claim. If he's behind and, you want to proceed. His name does sound familiar to me, so.
I don't even
thinking
think
that we
he
have-
signed the agreement. I think the person that signed the agreement
Was his father.
is deceased.
Correct.
So I don't even know if he's held liable.
I'm not an attorney, I don't know.
He's not, unless, because there's not a lien on the property with just a contract. If he inhabits the property now, if there was not an estate opened. You're right, Mr. Mingus, it's coming back to me. I do think he's the one that has continued to pay, even though his father's the one that signed the contract. So it may be that we would not be able to go after him anyway, if he wasn't the party to the contract. But in the same token, the warranty would not apply to him
Right.
either.
The warranty's gone.
Or, I know the warranty's gone, but there still would not be any kind of implied warranty to the one that didn't sign the contract.
Well, with the condition it's in, if he's not liable because of his father's death, then I think we should just dismiss it without prejudice.
Not to pay?
Well, he's not the one that made the contract, Bill.
I don't think there is
Right,
any
his-
kind of
his
claim
father-
against him yet,
his
Jane.
father-
I know his name has come up as far as our list goes, but it's not one that we've approved for suit or anything yet, I don't think. I'll double check on that, but that's why I wanted his name.
Okay. Any comments from the audience?
I doubt it.
Nobody? Okay,
Paul's
review.
ready for his report. I gave him his iPad.
What?
Review and discuss claims board approval.
I got two questions, Your Honor. Why wasn't the check made out to Dearborn Adult Center for Breakfast with Santa Claus? And why wasn't the check made out for the Eddie Canoe Toy Drive?
I just haven't gotten to him yet, but I was gonna do it. But my question is on Breakfast for Santa, if I give her that money, is she gonna come back and want more money in November
That I do not know.
for breakfast?
She shouldn't.
I mean, why would you?
I've got the claims written up, I just don't have them out front to be paid.
It's only April, right?
Yeah.
But why would she need the money now?
No, I'm just asking why they weren't on this accounts
Because
payable
I didn't get them out
register.
front to get on that list.
Because they were approved at the prior meeting.
Oh, I understand why you approved him. I just said, I mean, she wouldn't need that necessarily right now.
No, she doesn't need it right away.
They'll be written.
I just wanted to make sure they would be written. And one more question.
Yeah.
Mel Kramer received $500 that we donated to him in 214.
Mm-hmm.
What happened there?
It evidently got overlooked, and he called up a couple weeks ago and wanted to know something, and he said, I was supposed to get a donation. So he told us what minutes, we looked up the minutes, and I wrote in the check. Or the girls wrote in the check, I didn't. It just got overlooked when you originally did it, Jane.
I would have to look at those minutes, I'm not so sure it doesn't say that it's for 2015. That you just approved it in 2014 for 2015 monies.
Okay, it's just a
I
question.
will research that.
Thank you.
Just so there's enough money there for the two motions I made for $4,500 for Breakfast with Santa and $500 for the Eddie Canoe toy drive.
Okay.
There will be, I'm sure I can find $500 somewhere.
Entertain a motion. Approved.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion adjourned.
So moved.
Second. All in favor? Don't you make a mistake, for God's sake.
Look at me.
Nobody can make a mistake.
Come here. Oh, is that your first
Every
one?
day, buddy.
Oh, I've done that too. No, I probably didn't catch
Make a
it.
mistake every half hour. Every half hour, I make mistakes. Hey. What you got, buddy?
No, let's do it, because I want to give you a receipt.